Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
You can feel the madness.
Go to GotBrian.com. That's GotBrian.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
I had a story that ran on Monday morning, re-ranking, reseeding the Sweet 16 based on what we saw. And I was down on Tennessee. I was down on Marquette. I was much higher on Purdue, and I was much higher on Duke. But, outside of UConn, when you want to start shuffling and you're trying to figure out who did enough to make a statement, I think the Duke Blue Devils are one of those top 3 teams that you got to say you're feeling a little bit better about their form right now. Duke's not my pick to win it all from here, but can they beat Houston? Can they get to the Final Four? 100%.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Good afternoon to you. It is officially afternoon. I always wonder because it feels like morning, but we start at noon, so, unless you're listening in, morning to you, Dan. Dan listens a lot, and he's in San Antonio, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Just kind of a friend of the show.
Nice.
And he listens in Texas, so good morning to you, Dan.
Yeah, from
And if
Texas.
you're listening, wherever you are, if you're in California or
China.
I don't know what time it is.
Is that the one that we don't have yet for the Canes Corner? Because I know you said there's Australia.
No, we have a fair amount of people who joined the Canes Corner podcast live on YouTube, which we'll be doing tonight after the Hurricanes clinch a playoff spot against Detroit. And so, it's like, I don't even know what time it is. He's in Adelaide. We have people in Adelaide, Perth, Australia as well.
There you go.
Day games.
Everywhere.
Somebody in Dublin, Ireland is listening. We're everywhere. We're global. Absolutely global. And the Hurricanes will clinch a playoff spot tonight, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. It's still cloudy. Are you okay?
I know. Yeah, I think I'm still awake. I don't know. We've got the caffeine, so I thought this would be gone by now.
Before we begin, and I'm just going to say this very quickly, and then we're going to start. Today should be a national holiday.
It should. Yes, I agree with this. I know where
you know where we're going, right?
Yes.
So let's go there. Opening day in Major League Baseball should be a national holiday, especially when we're going to start during the week.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be honest, now we don't have a big league team here. Actually, we were going to talk with Grant McCauley, who covers the Atlanta Braves. We were going to do that today, but the Braves and the Phillies were rained out. The Mets and the Brewers were also rained out. By the way, I'm wearing orange. People can
nice.
Look on TV. Orange sneakers today
right.
For the Mets.
Stretching.
That was not easy. I might have pulled a hamstring. So the Mets and Brewers were also rained out, and those games for today were canceled yesterday.
Ugh.
So Grant McCauley is going to join us tomorrow to talk some Braves baseball. But when I was a kid, if you grow up in an area where you have a Major League Baseball team. By the way, the minor league start tomorrow.
Yes.
Usually it's about a week delay before the minor league start.
They're ready to go.
AAA Bulls start tomorrow.
Yep.
All right, we're going to actually meet somebody pretty cool who spent a year as a host at Durham Bulls Athletic Park, and he wrote a book about it. And he's a retired professor at Duke. So it's just a cool conversation with a guy who spent a year just talking to people at minor league baseball stadiums.
Yeah.
And especially that one. So, but if you grew up in an area where there was big league baseball, so I'm talking to a lot of people in Cary who grew up in Philadelphia or New York or Chicago or Detroit or Boston. Today was the day that your dreams began. Didn't make a difference if your team was going to stink or not. And I, having grown up as a Mets fan, more often than not, my team was meh.
Yeah.
Meh.
I understand
right?
that.
You're a Cubs fan. I get it, right?
Yeah.
Like 81 and 81.
Yeah.
82 and 80. 78 and 84. Those were our records, man. Like, the Mets didn't finish last a lot, but in the old National League East, we finished fourth a lot.
Yeah, just enough to tease you.
6-team division.
Maybe it could be a different year.
Finished fourth a lot. So, but today was a day that every kid wanted to be off. True story. Until I was a junior in college, so my first 2 years at the University of Maryland, I did not miss a Mets home opener.
Oh.
I was in Shea Stadium. I have never seen a baseball game at Citi Field. I've seen a hockey game at Citi Field, no baseball game at Citi Field. But from the time I was like 5 until I was 20?
Yeah, that's a fun tradition.
21? I don't know, whatever. I don't remember. But through my sophomore year at Maryland.
It's a good stretch.
Never missed a home opener. I did miss it for... Actually, no, it was rained out anyway. My great-grandmother, the late, great Lena Simon. Nobody knows who she is. She's not famous. But that was her name.
You do.
She passed away like 2 days prior to opening day. So we would not have gone, but call it karma. The game was rained out.
There you go.
So we didn't have to miss opening day, although I didn't go to the first game because it was played in a different day and we didn't have tickets to it. So anyway, we just always went. Always. And if the Mets opened up on the road, because Major League Baseball was always starting on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, the Reds used to open up the season first. They would play the first game every year, usually just get an earlier start to opening day. They would play like at 12:30. No other game would start till 1. But if the Mets opened up on the road, I would suddenly fall ill at lunch.
Oh, what a coincidence.
And I would be home in time to watch the first pitch. I kid you not.
It just worked out that way.
Which is why I say, come on. We take teacher work days. Do your teacher work day on opening day.
What a perfect day to do it.
We have all these teacher work days all day long. Like, what do you... I got to pick you up when? Teacher work day?
What are we doing?
Hey, teachers need to get work done and not, deal with kids all day.
Children.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't we just coincide? Oh, opening day, teacher work day, boom.
It's great for everyone.
But it really should be a national holiday. Now, if we're not in a market with Major League Baseball, okay. You get a day off. Go watch a game. Games start at 3 o'clock today. I think the first game is at 3 o'clock today. I don't know why we don't have one at 1.
I know, it's
but
weird.
First game is at 3 o'clock today. Anyway, it should be a national holiday. I'll give you, 2 more items here. And then actually some news, I think. Braves are among the favorites. Ronald Acuna Jr.'s, if he's not the best overall player in Major League Baseball, he's on the shortest possible list of candidates. Mookie Betts is on that list. Mike Trout is on that list. Right? But there's not a lot of players. Juan Soto, maybe. There's not a lot of players who are on this guy is the guy. But Ronald Acuna Jr. is definitely on that list. Wander Franco will open the season for the Rays on the paid administrative leave list. And you can stay on that list, I believe, until June 1st. For if you don't know, and maybe there are a lot of people who don't, I guess a credible accusation that he had sexual relations with a 14-year-old girl.
Yeesh.
Yeah. So he's got a long-term contract with Tampa Bay. I think it's reasonable to think that he will never play for the Rays again. I think it's reasonable to think that. But so that's what the Rays are dealing with. And the other bit of, I guess it's not really news, but a story which is hovering over Major League Baseball is that the Shohei Ohtani thing is just going to linger out there until people get more questions asked, answered, because we have, I think, very logical questions that nobody is willing to answer, and those will linger. Those will continue to be asked until somebody answers them. Real quick tradition in my family, as we were growing up, we used to play a game called Initial Baseball. This was great in the car. I used to play with my mom actually more than I played with my dad. My mom was a much bigger baseball fan than my father was. She was the reason that I became a rabid baseball fan.
Oh, cute.
Not so much my dad. She's an enormous Mets fan. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Does she have like a whole Mets wall of just things?
Kid you not. In it was earlier than 86 because they didn't really have a losing streak in 86. They were a machine. But if the Mets went into a losing slump, she would she had like Mets charms for her bracelet. She would put them in a little box with like 2 aspirin until the Mets started playing better. It's just so weird. Funny. Just very weird. Anyway.
Should do that with the Panthers.
They would stay in there forever.
Yeah.
We have Panthers news, though. We'll get to that in a minute. So we used to play Initial Baseball where you'd start by, like, I was playing against you, I would give you 2 initials, first and last name, of a Major League Baseball player. If you guessed it just off the initials, home run.
Oh, okay.
Okay? If you say, you'll make a guess, I'll say no. You'll say, all right, I give you the league. So we cut the league in half.
Okay.
Right? If you got it then, it was a double.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say no. Then I'd give you the position. If you didn't get it after the position, you were out.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was a single if you got it with the position.
That
No triples. It's okay. Home runs, doubles, singles, that was it. And if you get 3 outs, you're out.
Yeah. That would be tricky, though, if there are people who have multiple people who have the same initials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See?
Not too many VVs, though. So if I
Very
played.
few. If you were like, you would be, I see you as a second baseman.
Okay.
I see you as a second baseman.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So there you go. We used to play that, and that would be great for car rides.
Yes.
Awesome for car rides.
Instead of I Spy.
Yeah, we did that too. But we never mind. We don't have to go through. With license plate game, we did all sorts of things. All right, let's get to. It's going to be a Clowney show on Min Street. See, that's loaded, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is loaded.
Right. It's going to get it, Clowney. Never mind. Jadeveon Clowney signed a 2-year deal, or will sign a 2-year contract with the Carolina Panthers. Could have gone to the Jets, right? I don't know what the Jets were offering, but opportunity. He's close to home. He's from Rock Hill, South Carolina. He played at South Carolina. DJ Wanham also played at South Carolina. It's like Gamecock Central.
I know.
Very, very cool. If hopefully Wanham will be healthy. He's going to miss OTAs, right? He's hurt. He's going to miss OTAs. But Clowney signs a 2-year, $20 million contract, which could rise to a total of $24 million. Just as a comparison, and Clowney had 9.5 sacks last year, which was more than Brian Burns. Burns will make at least $24 million this year.
Wow.
For the Giants. At least. Actually, he signed the contract already, I believe. So I'd have to go look and see what he makes this year. But Clowney's going to make a maximum of 24 over the next 2 seasons. So, look, I'm not suggesting that Jadeveon Clowney is better than, as good as. He's older. He's 31. He's got, 6 years on Brian Burns. So I get the difference there, and maybe the potential of Burns is better than what you're going to get from Jadeveon Clowney, and maybe they should have committed to Burns much earlier than they did. Well, they didn't. But now that all of that stuff is done, and I understand people are mad because they didn't get enough for Clowney, whatever. But now that all of that stuff is done, I think this is a good bit of business because Clowney, with maybe some incentive to, max out the deal, he is home. Veteran players certainly can't hurt. So, good deal. They also re-signed Sam Franklin to a contract today, safety, special teams guy, all of that. Now you've got 3 picks, and they've basically addressed every position they needed to address. Did they satisfy everything? I would say no. Right? You addressed edge rusher with this after you traded Burns. You had to get one. All right, so Clowney goes there. Again, could you use another one? Yeah, of course. Offensive line. 2 big signings. We're moving Austin Corbett over to center. You've got some depth there. Brady Christensen can help out at multiple spots. Are you done? Nah. If there's a top-level offensive lineman sitting there at 33, should you take that player? You should consider it. It should be considered. Like if Duke center, actually he's a tackle at Duke, Graham Barton is sitting there at number 33, you have to run to the podium. You have to hand the card in the night before and make sure, just don't screw that up. They also need a wide receiver. Deontay Johnson's not a 1. He's more like a 2 or even a 3, but he's a good route runner. He's fast, blah, blah, blah. You still need more. You still need another guy. Maybe Jonathan Mingo's a keeper, but he's not a 1 either. Adam Thielen isn't a 1 either. You need a tight end. You need a cornerback. There's a lot you still need. So, but this is a very good start to the Panthers offseason. Just now all they have to do is go out and win some games.
Well, about that. Yeah.
Boy.
It's rough.
All right, let's get to day 1, Sweet 16. Day 1, Sweet 16. All right, Clemson and Alabama will start things off in Los Angeles. The first game where are they playing? Detroit is San Diego State and UConn. All right, San Diego State and UConn, I think, is the first game in Detroit. Anyway, Clemson and Arizona first. Winner of that game gets UNC and Alabama. North Carolina coach Hubert Davis. We've been talking about the ACC, 4 teams in the Sweet 16, and that's all fun for us to discuss. But you know what isn't discussed is doing it for the old conference footprint.
Well, I don't think we're in a position where we have to prove anything. I've always felt like the ACC was arguably the best conference in college basketball. Reason why that I believe that is for most of my life I've been a part of this conference as a player, as an assistant coach for 9 years, and now 3 as a head coach, and just the type of coaches and the programs and the consistency in the NCAA tournament from this conference is proof on the quality of teams and programs that we have in this conference.
Yeah, I mean, the history of the ACC in the NCAA tournament. Duke's got 5 titles. Carolina's got 5? Carolina's got 5, right? I know. Helms Foundation. Carolina's got 5 NCAA titles. State's got 2. Virginia's got 1. I mean, the winning in this league. And I'm not going to throw in what Louisville did when they were members of the Metro or Independent or the Big East. I'm not doing that. But the ACC has been, the college basketball leader. It's funny. Everything that we have heard when we had Joe Lenardi on, he's talking about they're so entitled. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not an entitlement if it's fact-based. Just like, while it's annoying to hear, the SEC has been the dominant football league for the last 2 decades. I mean, just go back and look at it. Dominant football league for the last 2 decades. Nobody's going to sit up here and say, no credible person is going to say, yeah, the SEC wasn't the best league. Even when they're not dominant, they're probably still the best conference. And I think the same thing about ACC basketball. It wasn't the best league this year. I mean, frankly, the SEC and maybe the Big 12 were both better. But the ACC has always played good ball. And for the most part, Duke and Carolina have always been really good. Just like in the SEC, for the most part, Alabama's going to be really good. Yeah. Georgia, especially now that they've, have kind of established it with Kirby Smart again. For a long time, Georgia was just, why aren't you better? It was LSU doing it with that. We don't have to get into that, but we understand. Well, the ACC's got multiple programs that operate in the highest portion of the college basketball ecosystem, and a bunch of others that normally do or certainly have the ability to compete in the next tier, and that's what makes a great conference. Anyway, so I get why everybody gets bent out of shape about the way it's been talked about this year, and I think people have just taken their opportunity to take shots for whatever reason. Everybody's motivated by different things. All right, let's more from Hubert Davis. So, Carolina, Alabama tonight. It's the second game. It'll be about a 9:40 start, unless the first game runs long, and then it'll be later. If it's okay with them, I'd like the game to start about 11.
Right.
So I can watch all of it.
Plenty of time.
And I can even get home and watch the second half.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's Davis on their formula for success.
We've got to get after it on the defensive end, and all year consistently we've been a really good defensive team. We've got to rebound the basketball. Prior to Michigan State in our last game, we had out-rebounded our opponent 25 straight games, and so we got to get back to that. We got to dominate the boards, and then taking care of the basketball on the offensive end. And really that's 2 parts. One, obviously limiting turnovers, but 2, our shot selection has to be good. And I've always felt that, your defense is really dictated by how you perform on the offensive end. And if you're making shots, taking good shots, getting to the free throw line, and taking care of the basketball, your opponent's always going up against your set defense, and that's good news for us and bad news for whomever we play.
Exactly. I'm going to feed the optimism this way. Alabama can score, right? Alabama is a 3-point shooting marauder. They've got 8 players who have attempted, on average, 2 3-pointers a game. 8 of them. They have 7 who have attempted a total of at least 90 3-pointers. They will jack them up. They come off the bench shooting from 3-point range. But here's the rub. They've only got 2 guys who make a lot, at least a high percentage. Now, granted, if you shoot 180 and you make 50, it's not a very high percentage, but you're certainly a shooter. So you got to be aware of those guys. And those guys, if they make 1, they might make 5. So you got to honor the 3-point shot just about with everybody, right? Not with everybody, but just about with everybody. And they are great shooting from 2-point range. They will get inside the lane. Here's the thing, though. They are an awful defensive team. It's as though they don't care.
Okay.
Like, seriously, they are here to score.
And that's it.
And there is something to be said for, if we score a lot, we will put pressure on you to try to keep pace. But I think that's North Carolina's the wrong team to do that with. Mm-hmm. Because, you want to run? Okay. Well, let's go.
Yeah.
I do think, though, that North Carolina, by the way, Alabama doesn't turn you over. So as long as North Carolina doesn't, mess it up themselves, I love their chances to not only win this game, but I think they'll be able to defend Alabama pretty well. Watch what, guys like Seth Trimble and Jalen Withers do off the bench, how they're utilized. I think Carolina will be fine tonight as long as they bring their defensive work boots. If they do that, they will be fine. If they don't play well defensively, if they can't handle Alabama, it's going to be a long game, and the under will not be good because they will both score. I think Carolina's going to score tonight.
Yeah.
I think Carolina's going to score plenty of points. Armando Bacot should have a big game. I'd love to see Carolina get to – oh, that's the other thing. Alabama will foul you. Oh, do they foul a lot.
Yeah.
They're among the worst teams in the country at keeping you away from the free throw line.
Yeah.
So good night for Carolina at the stripe. I think they'll shoot a bunch of free throws. So that's the game that we care about. The other games, as I mentioned, we've got Clemson and Arizona, San Diego State, UConn, Illinois, Iowa State are the other three games tonight. Canes can clinch a playoff spot against Detroit. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But when we come back, more basketball. Chris Spatola, Sirius XM and ESPN joins us next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Bring on the madness.
Ingram, a three from the left wing is nothing but net. Do it, big boy. Deals up 40-31. Michigan State has time the other way. Hogarth down low to Sissoko, tipped away by Bacot, and that's how the half will end. Carolina closes the first half on a 23-3 run.
College basketball tournament action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by Wake Med, Roofworks, and Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my good friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and I just logged onto the app, so super easy to do. And it's opening day in Major League Baseball, which for Mets fans like me isn't always good. Although the Mets are rained out today, so I'm free to look at other teams. Look, baseball is here. We've got college basketball, all of that. And if you sign up now, you can get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you make your first $5 wager. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to get started. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers, like people who want to save up to 25%. Take Julie. When her old car insurance got too expensive, do you think she ditched her car for a pair of rollerblades? No, she found affordable coverage with Direct Auto. And you can too. Get a free quote at directauto.com or find a store near you. Direct Auto. Stop compromising. Keep driving. Savings vary. Terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
This is the time of year to enjoy life, isn't it? Everything's starting to bloom. Well, stop letting that pain in your joints keep you from doing what you want to do this spring. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, and I'm talking about lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Adam Gold here, and this is a fact. QC Kinetics is literally transforming lives. Their advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Pro athletes have been doing this for decades, but now this life-changing treatment is available for you. So you can walk and run and climb and play and do anything you want pain-free. No pain pills, no surgery, all natural solutions. Live your best life this spring and summer. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 919-400-5473. 919-400-5473. 4 locations: Cary, Clayton, Raleigh, and Wake Forest. QC Kinetics.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Imagine pulling up to PNC Arena on your very own Hurricanes Harley-Davidson motorcycle. That dream can become a reality. The Law Tigers, Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and your Carolina Hurricanes are teaming up to give the ultimate Caniac a custom Hurricanes 2023 Harley-Davidson Softail. The bike will be given away live on the ice at the game on April 5th, and you might just win it. Go to caniacsbike.com. That's caniacsbike.com for your chance to win this custom-painted beauty of a bike. Do it now. Enter today.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
This is Adam Gold.
That was a big deal to me this morning. I'm sorry if the heathens that we had on for the roundtable, Jeremy and Travis,
My people.
didn't even understand Jurgen Klopp.
It does sound different. Feels like a clogging thing. Like I should be river dancing.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold on opening day of Major League Baseball. They got hot dogs out in the patio.
I know. Baseball bump music all day.
Yeah, we got hot dogs. I don't think there's Cracker Jack.
I was going to say.
By the way, is terrible anyway. Don't ever have it.
Yeah, well, our hot dogs might have a little rain flavor to them, too.
Oh, is it rain? I thought that the rain is gone. I thought the rain is clearing away.
No.
But we're, don't ever have Cracker Jack. I have a correction to make. Carolina has 6 national titles, even without the Helms Foundation thing in 1924. I don't know why I forgot 57, but I did. So 57 was 82, 93, 05, 09, and 17, right?
No.
That's the UNC run, and I appreciate the many people who reminded me of that. No, it's fine.
Yeah,
I am not. If I make a mistake, man,
Sure.
hit me on Twitter at @AGoldFan. The worst thing ever is when people do not admit mistakes. That is your ego not allowing you.
Right.
That is just your ego not allowing you to be wrong about something. In the grand scheme of things, not a big deal. But so thank you very much to the many people who did respond. I think somebody who cares a fair amount about opening day in the big leagues is with us to talk a little basketball. My friend Chris Spatola, Sirius XM, ESPN, who joins us. Sir, how are you? Happy opening day.
Yeah, likewise, Adam. I hear the joy in your voice. It's good to talk to you.
Even though I'm a Mets fan.
Yeah, despite that.
Yeah,
absolutely. I still hear it.
Our opening day starter is hurt. Just why would this year be different than most others? All right, so I'm not going to get into the ACC was disrespected. That conversation's been had. I talked about it with Joe Lenardi yesterday. I'm done trying to prop the league up, and the league doesn't really need to be propped up. It stands on its own merits. Let's deal with the teams. First one we're going to see tonight is Clemson. But let's start with the Tar Heels. What kind of problem do you think Alabama poses for UNC tonight?
Well, there's one problem, and then there's sort of a macro potential. The first problem is Mark Sears. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you haven't observed. He's been great, and in this tournament, if you have one player, and we've seen it in a few of these games, you have one guy who can go for a big number, especially in a lower possession game, which Alabama just came off of against Grand Canyon. You've got a shot. The other thing is, Adam, like. This Alabama team stylistically can be tough. They play up tempo. They shoot a lot of threes.
Mm-hmm.
They want that thing in a track meet. And if they are playing well, if they are making shots, they can be a load to handle. The problem for them this year is they just haven't had that offensive firepower. And to borrow a line from the great Top Gun, their offense is writing checks that their defense has not been able to cash this year. And so if they want to get into that track meet, but if they're not making shots, their defense has a hard time withstanding. So, I think Carolina has proven they've got a bit of a switch they can flip on.
Mm-hmm.
I think certainly they are more talented across the board. They're more veteran. They're more physical. If they make shots tonight, it's going to be hard for Alabama to get out and transition and do what they can do best. So I don't see this thing going all that well. But again, when you have a special player and you have an offense that can be explosive at times, it's certainly a threat.
Chris Spatola joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I'm going to use a Roy Williams line when he referred to his own team. We have a lot of shooters. We don't have a lot of makers. Alabama has shot over 1,000 threes this year. Now, as a team, they're shooting a fairly decent percentage. If you shoot almost 37% as a team, that's pretty good. But really, that's coming from just two sources. Sears and Reitzel. Those are the two guys who make a high percentage, and they shoot a lot of them. The other guys are pretty hit or miss. There's a lot of sub 30% three-point shooters who have the green light to go. They're sort of like you remember the old baseball player Rob Deere, who had hit a lot of home runs, but he was about a 200 hitter, which this is before the analytical age where it was okay to strike out 195 times a year. Back in the day, it really wasn't, and Deere wasn't that good a player. I think you bring up a good point, though. North Carolina, I think, if they bring their defense, I just don't see them having – look, can Spears go for a big number even if Carolina's defense is good? Yeah, I think they can. I think he can, but I don't see North Carolina having too much trouble if they commit defensively the way they have all year.
Yeah, and then you add in, the two X factors of Cormac and Harrison making shots. I mean, there's a higher ceiling, I think, than the floor. I always get confused over the floor and the ceiling, and which is the roof and all of that. But I think Carolina has shown you that they can. There's another. Again, it kind of gets to that idea of flipping the switch. They're down 12 in the first 10 minutes of that game against State, and there's no panic.
Right.
They have an ultimate belief. It's backed up by their defense. And then you have two grown-ups in Cormac and Harrison who, obviously contribute in a number of different ways. But if they're making shots, now all of a sudden Carolina goes to that next level. Yep. So it's tough.
Big picture question before I move on to the other two triangle teams that will play tomorrow. It does seem that veteran teams have a pretty significant advantage when we get to tournament time. What was the last team that was dominant? I'm not saying that Alabama is dominated by young players because I don't think they are. But when was the last team dominated by young players that won a title?
Yeah, I mean, you got me.
Duke?
I can't. I don't even. Yeah, but I mean, who were the? Here's a better question. Who was the last team whose young player was their best player to win a national championship? You probably go back to Syracuse and Carmelo Anthony. I can't think of – unless – again, even that Kentucky team with Anthony Davis, he wasn't necessarily their best player. He's their best prospect. That Duke team had best prospects. I don't think any of those freshmen on that 2015 were their best players.
No, I mean, that was they had a lot of guys who were almost at the same level, right? Quinn Cook, Tyus Jones. Jaleel Okafor might have been until the ankle injury that he suffered against Carolina, and then he was used basically as a decoy the rest of the season. Let me move on to the Blue Devils, who will play Houston last year in the tournament, and Chris Spatola from ESPN and SiriusXM is joining us here. Last year, they got to the second round of the tournament and got big boyed by Tennessee. The potential exists for that to happen against the Houston Cougars as well, although Houston is a little bit banged up. How do you see this going one way or the other?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've seen Houston 6 times. I did them 6 times this year.
Wow.
And, yeah, I don't think John Shire will shout this from the rooftops. He certainly is not going to tell his team, but they are catching Houston at the best possible time, to your point. Outside of the injuries and the toll that's taken, I do wonder over 35-plus games, playing defense, that type of defense with that effort level, you start to wear down. And I think that's a part of the injuries. I also think it's part of how Houston has played. I also can tell you, Adam, Duke fits the profile of teams that have played them well this year. BYU, for example, played Houston really well. And part of it is they shoot threes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they can spread you out and they make threes. I had Houston at Oklahoma. Houston won that game, that game that Jamal Shed had that putback.
Right.
But Oklahoma played them as well as anybody in the Big 12 this year, and part of it was they made 11 threes in the game. When a team is as aggressive defensively as Houston is, you're going to get a lot of open threes. You're going to get a lot of that backside, weak side three, that backside corner three. You've got to hit open threes against Houston, and Duke obviously has the ability to do that. The other vulnerability that has started to develop here is Houston's ability to defensive rebound. And it's not just against Texas A&M in the game the other day, because A&M is the best offensive rebounding team in the country. But I did Houston's game against TCU in the Big 12 tournament. And again, Houston won that game, but TCU had 27 offensive rebounds in that game. Crazy number.
It's crazy.
A lot of Duke's threes have come off of that offensive glass, and so you've got to have multiple ball handlers. You've got to have good team speed. You've got to be high assist, low turnover, and you got to be able to shoot the basketball. And so, look, Duke checks the box. Now, to your point about the physicality, I can tell you again from seeing enough of Houston, the first 10 minutes of this game are really, really important. First of all, those two bigs for Houston, Javier Francis and Juwan Roberts, it's going to be a test of manhood for Kyle Filipowski early in that game. How they're going to want to look at the whites of his eyes and see what he has in him. It's the same for that Duke backcourt, especially that freshman and that sophomore. Like L.J. Cryer and Jamal Shed and Emmanuel Sharp to a degree it's a test of will. Like they're going to line up against those dudes and see what they have. And you can't simulate with Houston what that defense does in practice. And so I've seen a lot of teams lose early to Houston because they can't adjust, or it takes too long to adjust to that defense. So if Duke is physically ready, from a psychological standpoint, and then if they can make some threes, especially early in that game to set a tone, there's no question they have a shot to win that game.
All right, let's move on to the Wolfpack. At some point, you go from, darling and glass slipper to, hey, this is actually a pretty good basketball team that is playing at their best than they have all year long, and maybe their best offensive player, the big man, DJ Burns, is playing the best he's played all year long, and it's no longer just a cool story, but they're going to be a tough out. How do you see where the Wolfpack sit as we head to the Sweet 16 against Marquette?
Yeah, I think their formula has been win in March formula, and there's two sides to it. First of all, there's a personnel side. Your point about Burns is excellent. The other point is those guys around him are playing better than they have all year, generally speaking.
Yep.
Like Michael O'Connell was really good in the ACC tournament. Hits a big shot in their game the other day. I mean, he's playing well. Mohamed Diarra, I think, has been the key. Obviously his rebounding has been critical, but his scoring numbers are up. He's shown you he can hit a three. You have to play him out there. Casey Morsell has been good. So you're getting guys that if you can get guys in March to play a little bit outside of themselves, that's a winning formula. And then from an X and O perspective, over the last 4 games, their defense in almost every category has been better. They're holding teams, going back to the Virginia game in the ACC tournament, to 37% from the field. They are winning the battle. They've won the rebounding battle in every one of those games. They are dominating in the paint. Part of that's Burns, but some of that's just, other guys. I mean, they are
Ben Middlebrooks
dominating. Yeah, they're dominating teams in the paint, and they're winning the game at the foul line. And as you know, Adam, you go down the line, the majority of these games, especially this time in the tournament, the tail of the tape comes down to that foul line. So battle on the glass, battle in the paint, battle at the foul line, and your defense is the best it's been all year. That's kind of the formula to win this time of year. Now, obviously the Burns matchup is going to be an interesting one. What does Marquette do? They don't have a lot inside in terms of bulk and strength and rim protection. But then what do they do with Burns? What does Kevin do with Burns defensively with, those guys on the perimeter, the pick and roll game and all of that?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think there's an X and O chess game implement or aspect to this. But it's good to be – what State is doing well, it is good this time of year to be doing well in those areas.
Chris Spatola, do you feel comfortable making predictions, sir?
Always.
All right. Let's who do you have escaping this round and getting to the weekend?
From the three we talked about?
Yeah, and then we'll go to the other games as well.
Yeah, I think Duke's going to beat Houston. I think Marquette's going to beat NC State.
Right.
I think Clemson. I have Clemson beating Arizona. Yeah, maybe it's just sort of a feel-good thing, but I also think again, what you need to be doing well this time of year. I think they are.
Yeah.
I would, if I was a betting man, I'd sprint to my DraftKings app and I would hand the 4.5 to Alabama and go home a winner. I think they win that game.
I've already gone to my app and done that. So yes.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, you're the man. You know what you're doing.
And I like under. For whatever reason, I like under 170 something.
Are you the guy stealing money from Shohei? Is that you, Adam Gold?
I don't have access to his account. Come on, you tell me you didn't raise an eyebrow. How does his interpreter have access to his account?
Dude, I did not believe 1 second of that statement he put out. Now we're getting off track. You guys don't believe me. The truth is far more to the middle than what Shohei presented the other day.
Gosh, there's so many questions that they won't answer. All right, so you and I like your ACC optimism. Well, State. I think State could beat Marquette, but I don't pick that either. I think they can keep that one close. But I like the others. And is anybody beating UConn in? Let's not say anybody. Is San Diego State beating UConn? No, right?
No, they will not. They will not beat UConn. But I do have Iowa State winning.
I do too.
And I think they could. I think they could give UConn problems. The key with Iowa State, Adam, and again, I had them like 4 times this year. And especially against Illinois, who does get fouled a lot and lives at the foul line. Like Iowa State has to play that defense without fouling, and a lot of their games are about how games officiated.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be the case today, and then the same with UConn. I think Iowa State has size to battle up front, and I think they certainly have the perimeter defensively to play them. But they just can't lose the game at the foul line.
Chris Spatola, we have to end it there. ESPN, Sirius XM, and big Shohei Ohtani fan. We will talk again very soon, my friend. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, you be good, Adam. Good talking to you.
You too. Chris Spatola here on the Adam Gold Show. There's always an aside somewhere. All right, quick break. Come back. One-timers next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
NC Medicaid is for more people like me.
Adults who don't have children.
People who serve.
People who do the heavy lifting.
Child care teachers.
Full health care coverage at low or no cost.
Doctor's visits, emergency rooms, and prescriptions.
So if you applied before and didn't get it, apply again.
NC Medicaid covers more people than ever before.
NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Charlotte this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 25 different sports. The Body Armor State Games features 13,000 athletes and 700 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Harris Teeter, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
This year, more than 600,000 people are eligible for coverage under the new Medicaid expansion program passed by the North Carolina State Legislature. This means that more people than ever before qualify for services. Brian Floyd is the Chief Operating Officer of ECU Health and discusses these issues on this month's Conversations on Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association.
Rural communities are affected even more because people who don't have insurance will seek out care in the emergency department. We really want people to get Medicaid expansion, get to see a primary care doctor, and avoid the use of an emergency department that consumes those resources that might really be needed for true emergencies.
You can listen to the rest of this discussion on Conversations on the State of Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Learn more about Medicaid expansion and other important healthcare issues at nchealthcare.org. That's nchealthcare.org.
Think it's too pricey to pursue your interest and earn a degree? Well, if you're a North Carolinian from a household making $80,000 or less, think again. The Next NC Scholarship could cover more than half, if not all, of your tuition and fees at any NC community college or public university. This is money that doesn't have to be repaid. The Next NC Scholarship helps you know what you're getting because it combines federal and state-funded financial aid to form a new, simplified award. We're talking at least $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for a public university, making the cost of education more manageable. The Next NC Scholarship also helps you know where you're going because you could see how much you could get to pay for the schools you're interested in. So picking the right path for you and your future is now easier than ever. Applying is as simple as filling out the FAFSA. Dig into the details at nextncscholarship.org. The Next NC Scholarship. Know what you're getting, know where you're going.
You don't need a 4-year degree to have a rewarding career that makes a difference in people's lives every day. As a public power line worker, you'll build and maintain a locally owned and operated electric system to keep the lights on in your community. 4 months in a community college program provides the training you need to begin your career as an apprentice line worker in public power. And being a local government employee in North Carolina comes with excellent benefits. To learn more about line worker and other public power careers, visit electricities.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Dan on Twitter, who you got? Robert Plant or Elvis Presley? That is actually very difficult because I don't want to disrespect Elvis Presley. I think it's Elvis. It's very, very close. And that is an incredible question.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program here on opening day in Major League Baseball. Games don't begin until 3 o'clock for some silly reason, but whatever. We'll do. We shouldn't have night games. Like one for television. Give me a 1 7 o'clock and then a West Coast game. Shouldn't have night games.
Yeah.
Everything should be during the day. Yeah. I have rules. I have rules for this.
People are not listening.
To my rules.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let's get to one-timers.
Okay.
Nobody ever listens to me anyway.
So tonight, our Carolina Hurricanes are at home taking on the Red Wings. The Wings are trying to grab up some points, but this is also an important playoff clinching spot for the Canes as well. So what needs to be their key to winning this game?
Honestly, just play with a little bit more, well, I'm going to use the term gumption. Like a little bit more intestinal fortitude than you showed in the third period in Pittsburgh. First period was flat. Pens weren't great either. Second period was dominant, just didn't get enough out of it. Third period was kind of a mirage. Right? It looked, on paper, looked good, but in reality, wasn't good. And Pittsburgh, you didn't put any pressure on them. So just play the game that you are capable of playing. Doesn't have to be spectacular. Just play the hard, in-your-face, defensive game. The offense will come, and all you got to do is win, and you're in.
Yeah,
2 points.
That's it.
Doesn't matter how you get them. 2 points, and you've clinched a playoff spot with 8 games left to play.
Right. Okay, well, Natchez, we're not sure. Are we sure whether he's playing tonight?
Did not practice yesterday. Jesper Foss was in a yellow non-contact jersey. So, 50-50 on both.
Well, if
my
he's-
guess is that Natchez will play. But,
If he's not, then which player needs to step up in his spot?
this would be any time. Doesn't even matter if Martin Natchez is on the ice or not. Anytime Andrei Svechnikov wants to enter the chat, we would all appreciate his contribution. Anytime.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to say, no, we don't need that from you now, Andrei. We want Andrei to be at his best.
Okay, well, moving on to some basketball. UNC obviously is taking on Alabama today. So, like you said, when it comes to fouls, Alabama likes to do that.
They do. They love fouling. It's fun. Fouling's fun.
So, which players on UNC, if Armando Bacot and RJ aren't being able to, make the shots that they need to, which players then need to step up in those positions?
It'll be Bacot and Davis, and then Ryan or Ingram or both. And I don't want to see Elliot Cadeau taking 3-pointers. Sorry. I've heard the narrative. Oh, you have to make them honest. No, you don't. Just get the ball to the other guys to shoot. But Ryan and Ingram will make an offense.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my man Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. You know what Gordon's here to do, right? Well, Gordon's not here. I'm here. I'm acting as his proxy. As a satisfied customer of Miller Lending, an 11-time satisfied customer who has never paid a dime in closing cost, has always had the freedom to refinance free of charge when the rates went down, I am here to tell you that if you pay closing costs, you have wasted that money, and here's why. All closing costs do for you is lower your monthly payment by about $50 a month. That's it. That's all they do. But you'll have to keep your mortgage for about 8 years to break even. You don't think the rates are going to drop within 8 years? Come on. Of course they're going to drop. You want to have the freedom to refinance free of charge. Don't pay closing costs ever. Average length of a mortgage is less than 4 years. I've never kept one longer than 3. MillerLending.com is the place to go. Miller Lending, they are an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 2502146.
The moment we've been waiting for has arrived. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today using code NEWNCBG. Then place your first bet of $5 or more. Win or lose, you'll receive $150 in bonus bets. Open to new users in North Carolina who are 21 or older. Terms and conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos or the promos tab in the app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagamenc.gov. Tribal Casino Gaming Enterprise is a licensed operator by the North Carolina State Lottery Commission.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
I'm Drake May, quarterback at UNC. Trust the team at Mitchell Heating and Cooling for your HVAC needs. Together we win. Call Mitchell Heating and Cooling today.
Contact us now at mitchellhvac.com or 919-556-5069. Train. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
You call that a precision stop?
When a rookie stunt driver, just give me a shot, meets the trainer who thought he'd seen it all.
Come on, focus.
They'll soon find out that behind the wheel of the Nissan Rogue, with the power of VC turbo and the most fuel-efficient gas-powered engine in its class,
watch this,
the protege can become a master. But this is no ordinary blockbuster. It's a Nissan sales event ad.
Woo! Level up your drive with 1.9% APR financing for 60 months on the 2023 Nissan Rogue. Shop the Nissan sales event. Visit your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today. Auto Pacific segmentation excluding hybrids and electric vehicles. 2024 EPA fuel economy estimates from 28 city 34 highway to 30 city 37 highway for 2024 Nissan Rogue. Actual mileage may vary. For well-qualified buyers, 1.9% APR financing for 60 months on new 2023 Rogue and dealer stock. Example, 60 months financing at $1,748 per month per thousand financed. Actual down payment may vary. Subject to residency restrictions and INMAC credit approval. Not all buyers qualify. Dealer contribution may affect actual price set by dealer. Contact dealer for details. Ends 4/1/24.
If you are among the 6 million Americans living with Alzheimer's or care for someone with Alzheimer's or dementia, there is free help and support available 24/7. Visit alz.org or call 800-272-3900.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
You can feel the madness!
Go to GotBrian.com. That's GotBrian.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I think that we've got a situation where the same way that Texas A&M forced Houston to play a game it did not want to play, Duke can do that, and Duke has better scorers, and better scorers by an exponential margin. There is not a lot of defense that can withstand Jared McCain on a heater. I am not expecting Jared McCain to hit 8 3-pointers.
Yes.
But Jared McCain hits 4 or 5, and if they're timely, things could become problematic.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria's here. We are having fun. Opening day of Major League Baseball.
Apparently they're grilling hot dogs around here somewhere.
Nobody has brought us any hot dogs here.
No, we never get any of the fun things. It always happens during lunch.
It might happen. We might have to run out there during a commercial break. Do we have any commercial breaks scheduled? Yes, we do. Coming up. Anyway, appreciate your time. It's the start of the Sweet 16 tonight. You've got Clemson and Arizona. Winner of that gets the winner between Carolina and Alabama. We've got UConn and San Diego State. Winner advances to meet the winner of Iowa State and Illinois. If you care, and I'm not sure that you do, nor should you, my Elite Eight on that side of the draw was UConn and Iowa State, which could still happen. And I had Carolina. I actually had Baylor down there, but I'm glad that Baylor lost. And I hope it is UConn, UNC, and Clemson. That would be great, guaranteeing us another ACC team in the Final Four, which, hey, I don't mind waving the ACC banner. I don't mind that one single bit. But it's not just Sweet 16 basketball, although we will address that here. It is also Carolina Hurricanes hockey with a chance to clinch a playoff spot. And as we run back the news of the day, here is our second attempt to get things going. Well, let's get to it. So they could have clinched the playoff spot in Pittsburgh, didn't, because Carolina got no points out of it. So Rod Brindamore, after practice yesterday, he was asked, what is the focus right now before the playoffs?
Well, your details on little things, but you're not trying to push too hard. But you got to still try to get better. And so the video sessions are really where you're getting better. But then running the reps on things that we got to do. Again, we still have a couple of new guys that really haven't had any of those, so that's really more. A lot of it's for them, but it's also refreshers for our guys. We got to continue to find a way to get better.
Yeah, I mean, Rod just sounds like a coach there every day. How can we get better today? But he told me the other day, I mean, I talked to Rod before every game and sometimes at other points as well, and basically said that they do almost all of their coaching and teaching in the video sessions. So, like today, there's not a morning skate, but they get together today and they go over video. So they'll look at Detroit. They'll look at what Carolina's doing. Why didn't they score here? What was the problem here? What broke down here that allowed a scoring chance against? That's what the video sessions are for. And I think they do a pretty good job of doing that. He was also asked about the potential of Jesper Fast and Martin Necas in the lineup.
Message just, he wasn't feeling 100%. Quickie, I think, is right around the corner. Whether he plays tomorrow or not, I'm not sure. But definitely, it's within the next game or so, I would assume.
All right, now, if there's any question, this is what this time of the year allows you. It affords you the opportunity to not push it. If a guy needs a rest, if a guy isn't ready to go, if a guy can make, the next couple of weeks more problematic if he plays, then you hold him out. Get guys healthy. You want your entire arsenal ready to go for the third week in April. Might be the fourth week in April. It's whatever. Third. It's mid to late April. After the regular season is over, which is over the second Tuesday, you got to be ready to go with your full squad. So if Foss can't play or if Necas can't play, it's all right. Not to mention, you can win games without them. I'm not saying they're not important. They are. But you can win games without those guys. But I am looking forward to the day where Carolina's got their top 12 forwards ready, because then I think we'll see what it really is going to look like. And I think everybody will be really excited about that, because I think their best look is Fost playing with Stahl and Martinook and letting that line, especially on home ice, erase another team's one of the other team's scoring lines, whether it's the top line or the next line. And I think it also allows you to get favorable matchups on your second and third scoring lines, which to me, that is where Carolina should take advantage of other teams. Maybe not all, but Carolina is as deep or deeper than any team in the league. Just look at it. The third line should be Kuznetsov with Necas and Svechnikov if they are all healthy and playing well. So I'm very excited. I'm bullish, if you will, on the rest of the season. All right, Christian Laettner, Duke legend, was on with Mike Greenberg today on ESPN Radio. And Laettner is not necessarily a fan of not the game, of the modern college sports ecosystem.
They got to take out the NIL. They got to wipe that out. They got to change the transfer portal. I know everyone's saying the horses out of the barn and you can't take stuff back, but how can you establish any type of culture at a school when you're getting new kids every year? That would mean every year was like my freshman year at Duke, and you're so much better your third, your fourth year when you're under one system, one program, one coach, one specifically defined culture, the way you want to play offense, the way you want to play defense. I don't know how the coaches do it in today's game, and that's why some of the better ones are starting to quit. It's just horrible. It's horrible. I hope they change it.
All right, I'm going to respond to that in a second. I want to play one more clip from Christian Laettner on too much too soon for athletes.
Life is not about immediate gratification. Life is not about immediate results. You have to work hard. You have to dedicate yourself. You have to become very, very good at something. Go to school, work on your passion, whatever it is, and you'll get the gratification at the end. And that's what the NBA is for. Work hard your whole life, get better at basketball, make it to the NBA, and then maybe you can get paid $50 million a year. That's what real life is, not this TikTok life, Snapchat life, social media life where you get immediate gratification and 1 million views. And, oh, my God, I just hate it. I'm sorry. Too old school, I guess.
Yeah, you might be. You might be too old school. All right. There are people out there nodding their head. Yeah, you go. You go, Christian. here's the thing about what Leitner had to say. A lot of that could be accomplished, could be reincorporated within the college system with one thing, and it's called collective bargaining. Because within collective bargaining, you can have all of these things that Christian Leitner talks about. And I don't think he's wrong that college sports is better with more experienced teams and players who have been around not only their schools but their teammates for longer periods of time. Will never stop players from going 1 year and then going to the NBA or in other sports if you can leave. We're never going to stop that. But within collective bargaining, like, I don't know why Christian's got a problem with name, image, and likeness. I really don't. But to me, it's really more about the portal. And maybe NIL is the reason why players leave. They get a better financial situation somewhere else. My argument to that would be, well, maybe the team that he was just with should, provide more for him. But through collective bargaining, you'd be able to have so many of those things that Leitner longs for. You can say in collective bargaining, you can agree that, all right, here's what you get if. Here's the parameters for your we'll just say working arrangement, your employment. Maybe it is simply a transactional situation. You do this, you get paid this. Maybe it's that. Or maybe it's simply you have to be here for X amount to get this. But all of these things, through collective bargaining, which is where we're headed, all of those things can be addressed through collective bargaining. And then everybody knows the rules. And when you commit to go to a school, ultimately what will happen is you will commit to play your college career at that school. And again, through collective bargaining, we can say if certain things are not met, if certain criteria are not met from the school's point of view toward you, then you may be free to go. Or if you graduate, then you are free to go. For a long time, you would sit out a year if you transferred. But if you were a college graduate, if you actually graduated maybe even a year early, you were free to transfer then without having to sit out. I'll say all of these things can be agreed to through collective bargaining. And this is where we go back to this. What Christian is talking about is actually illegal. But it's just been the norm of college sports forever. It's actually illegal once the athletes were ruled and viewed as employees. Like, wait a second. I can't quote Justice Brett Kavanaugh. I can't quote him. But in the Alston case, when he wrote the concurring opinion, and again, it takes a special set of circumstances to put all 9 of those Supreme Court justices in the same column. And they went 9-0 against. He said, how have you been getting away with this? It is a walking antitrust violation, which is why the NCAA and all the major conferences have been lobbying for antitrust protection from Capitol Hill. They're not getting it. Just collectively bargain. And then you can get your own protections. Again, everything can be negotiated. That's the solution to all of those issues with culture building and teams staying together and waiting till you get this. First of all, don't miss me with at the end, because by the same token, you shouldn't get paid in the NBA until the end of your NBA career, which, of course, is patently stupid. The NBA changed their salary structure when they were tired of paying rookies who came right out of school, like Christian Laettner, where they were tired of paying them exorbitant salaries. It wasn't that these players are not valuable. It became hard to sign them because they had leverage, they had bargaining power. So Glenn Robinson could sign a $60 million contract over 10 years as a first-year player. And Grant Hill signed a massive contract. They used to do that in football, too. You could sign whatever contract you want. The first overall pick who didn't have that ability was Cam Newton. That's when the salary structure began.
Yeah.
That's when the slotting happened. First overall pick makes this. That's what and it happened in the NBA sooner. And it was only because they were tired of negotiating against nobody, and they were tired of paying rookies more than their veterans, which is what was routinely happening. So everything can be solved. We can have all of our nice things about college sports simply through collective bargaining. Thank you. All right. It's going to be a clown-y show on Mint Street. Jadeveon Clowney is a Panther. We'll talk about that and drama in Pittsburgh already with Will Brinson. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The Triangle needs to recognize, I hope everybody does, how amazing what is going on in the NCAA tournament is for us. 3 teams from this small of an area making it to the Sweet 16, that happens rarely, like once a decade here. And it happens never, like absolutely never, anywhere else.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Today's the big day for all of you MLB fans, with it being opening day and all, or those who are just excited about the men's college basketball tournament returning with more matchups, so you can finally try your hand at a bet or two. Hey, it's Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM, and if you've been debating on whether to put down a wager on a game you know will turn out a certain way, or at least have a good hunch anyway, this is the perfect time to do it. You can get $150 in bonus bets just by making your first $5 wager and using code VICTORIA150. Whether you win or lose, you still get $150 in bonus bets, so it's really a win-win situation. Using the BetMGM app, you'll have options like same-game parlays, live bets, prop bets, and BetMGM even offers fun daily promotions. For $5, you'll get $150 to experiment with in bonus bets by using code VICTORIA150. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's bow time. Sometimes the craving for Bojangles Supremes is so strong you just gotta have them, even when your gas tank is on empty and Bojangles is still 10 miles down the highway. Nothing beats the flavor of Bojangles' juicy golden Supremes, especially when they're part of a perfect combo with 4 boldly seasoned chicken Supremes, a made-from-scratch biscuit, fixin', and some legendary iced tea. The only thing that can satisfy your hunger is that delicious southern flavor. So when the craving is supreme, put the pedal to the metal. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free.
no credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards, get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And with My Lowe's Rewards, your savings just keep coming. Save money with member-only offers and earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards just for you. Because Lowe's knows you earned it, literally. Learn more about our new loyalty program at lowes.com/MyLowe'sRewards. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
This is Adam Gold.
I would like to go to the supermarket with the Bears front office.
Exactly.
Right? Oh, no. Do I want like fruits and vegetables, or do I want this box of Devil Dogs? Devil Dogs, by the way, the greatest snack cake known to mankind. Unfortunately, you need a lot of milk. Otherwise, you're out of luck.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria is here. Kenny Rogers?
Yeah, it's about a baseball game.
Singing about baseball? Kenny Rogers?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a deep dive.
That's very much a deep dive. Like I'm familiar with Don Henley and Boys of Summer.
Right.
John Fogerty in center field.
I know. I feel like I should just play that the rest of the day. But
by the way, there's songs written for Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays. And do you remember the Terry Cashman talking baseball?
Oh no!
Oh yeah, it's
a lot.
Tons, absolute tons. All right, let's talk a little football. It's going to be a clown show. How many times can I use that joke? On Min Street, even more than usual this year. Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com, joins us. So Jadeveon Clowney decides not to go to the Jets, but to go to the Panthers. It's home. I get all of it. Talk to me, sir. What do you think about what the Panthers did here?
Well, I mean, I think Clowney is a nice fill-in for. I mean, look, Clowney had a really good year last year with the Ravens and that Mike McDonald's defense. So he's still got something left in the tank. Clowney's just like a fascinating story because, obviously a freak athlete in South Carolina, first overall pick, has the helmet thing against Michigan on New Year's Day, never quite lives up to that hype as the guy who's this like unbelievable pass rusher, but was always better against the run and maybe a better defensive lineman than really people gave him credit for. Sort of a great veteran add-on. I think it's a chance to go play for the hometown team and sort of fill the void. You lose Brian Burns. You need to improve on the defensive line. You need to get somebody who gets the pressure off the edge and play well against the run. I think Clowney does that. First of all, in terms of where he can play along the defensive line. And I don't think the Panthers. I think the Panthers, if we take out the Brian Burns trade and what they actually got for him, and the whole I don't even mind the actual trade of Brian Burns. I'm saying this, for weeks now. It's like I don't mind the Brian Burns trade. I think you had to trade him. It's just like the process of getting to where you only got what you got back was the issue.
Right.
And then you look at the rest of the offseason, they've had a pretty good offseason. If they hadn't given away the first overall pick and they were picking first overall right now, I think people would be like, all right, the Panthers got something cooking here. Can trade you. And so it really harkens back to the mistakes made over the last previous 18 months.
Right.
I think Clowney's a nice ad for a team that, is hoping they can go out there and win I don't know what, like triple or quadruple your win total from last year, and make Bryce Young looks good, and you feel like you're like, all right, that was a pretty good season.
So quadrupling the win total would get Carolina to 6-11.
Wouldn't that be? Didn't they win 2? Wouldn't that be 8? Did they win 1?
Well, a quadruple. That's right. Quadruple would be 4.
Times 4. Yeah,
would be 4. Never mind. It's been that kind of day, Will. Will Brinson, senior NFL writer.
You're in the middle of an NC State 216 run. Your brain is barely functioning. Like
we can blame it on whatever. My brain could be barely functioning regardless. Look, just to piggyback on what you said, we don't know how any player is going to work out. And I really liked what they did in the offseason a year ago in terms of addressing positions that they addressed. But I also said going into last year, man, they just need their offensive line to be good, and it was the opposite. But where they addressed this year, you get 2 guys at guard who are going to start. You move Austin Corbett from one of those positions to center. It would be great if you strengthened that position as well. You hope that Ike Ekwonu has a bounce back year at left tackle. Taylor Moton can continue to be good at right tackle, and then the depth that you had to use last year as starters can spell them, for series here and there. Brady Christensen healthy would become kind of a swing player at a lot of different positions. So hopefully their offensive line is good. I still think they need to address wide receiver, tight end, cornerback, linebacker. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe that'll be Peyton Wilson in the draft at number 39 early in the second round. Because I know he is. They're certainly interested. Are they interested that early? Don't know. So I think there's a lot of things going on. Let me get to a former Wolfpacker, and he was all about the Wolfpack last weekend in Pittsburgh, sort of. Russell Wilson could have worn like a state shirt. No, could have worn like a state basketball jersey or a state baseball jersey to one of the Wolfpack's games.
I'm surprised he didn't have a badger's body with a wolf head on it or something like that. Reverse, like a wolf, like Tuffy with whatever what's the badger's name? Like a
Bucky,
like a strutting wolf,
Bucky Badger,
strutting wolf with like a Bucky head. It's great. Packers in Pittsburgh, Russ, doing Russ things. He was safe for a while. I think it's just like which Russ are we getting? That's when you decide if he's a Wisconsin guy or a state guy.
That is true.
He's being a total weirdo and stinking it up on the field. He's a Wisconsin guy. If he's being cool and normal and winning, he's a state guy. That's how it happens.
All right, here's my question for you. This is sort of looking into the future. I don't know when the Steelers' bye week is, but let's just say week 8. Who's the starting quarterback for the Steelers, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields?
Well, if I was using one of those apps that we've got in North Carolina now, I'd probably take Justin Fields because I think you get him 7-1. Russ is minus 1,100. Mike Tomlin down in Orlando this week said that Russ, quote, has the pole position.
Right.
And then proceeded to do a lot of Mike Tomlin things where he said, once we get to put the pads on and get to the preseason stadiums, it's a fucking weird thing to say. He just pointed out that things could change, and I think Russ. I think it's typical Mike Tomlin word motivational word salad.
Right.
But I do think it's true. I think Russ has the pole position, and if nothing changed, he would be the week 1 starter. If you're giving me the odds, I'm going to take Justin Fields though, because I think in this Arthur Smith offense, Fields and what he does with his legs and the design runs and stuff just makes a lot more sense. But I do believe Russell Russell working out is the preferred outcome for Mike Tomlin.
Well, yeah, Russell working out gives you a steady presence. Somebody who's been through it at quarterback. Yeah. But and I know people they're going
to try to run the hell out of the ball,
right,
and play defense, and that's going to be the approach I think you're going to see here. So I just think, I guess I kind of gave you a Mike Tomlin word salad answer.
No, but here would be my question about that. I watched enough of the Steelers last year. Didn't they try to run the ball last year?
Yeah, but that was with Matt Canada when you just, nothing works with Matt Canada on offense.
Why does Matt Canada keep getting hired?
Because he's personable. I don't know. It's very bizarre. Remember, he was the head coach briefly of LSU.
Well, no, was he the head coach or he might have been the head coach in one of those funky leagues.
Or maybe it was Maryland. He was the interim head coach for either LSU or Maryland.
I don't even know. Maybe I'll do a Wikipedia search for Matt Canada. It will tell me everything.
He was the interim head coach for a college team, and that Pittsburgh Steelers team last year had 3 coaches from NC State's 2000 and whatever year that they went 3-9 or something like that. I mean,
perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Bunch of guys that fell up. What do you make of the Chiefs signing a rugby star?
If it were any other, look, Andy Reid and this Chiefs team have approached 2010 Belichick Patriots level, where whatever they do, however remotely silly and totally dismissive it could be for any other team, you have to be you remember Belichick he signed Albert Hainsworth and Chad Johnson. It was well, it won't. It's the old Arrested Development meme. It's did it work for them? No, but it might. It's they fooled themselves into thinking it would, but it might work for us. And you just believe anything that Belichick did back then,
right?
Might have a chance at paying off. Who signs Corey Dillon, who's washed up and he leads the league in rushing, and all that stuff. I think the Chiefs are sort of there where you say, all right, they're going to the season with Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Rashee Rice as their number 1 wide receivers. This can't work. And they win the Super Bowl, even if their offense stinks the whole year. So, I think Andy Reid's creative and, knows how to, is willing to take chances. So I like the idea. I don't think it's that crazy. I think they should, people, I got ripped for my latest mock because I gave him a wide receiver, it was the 8th wide receiver, Ricky Purcell or something. And, people are like, you're lazy. They're not just going to definitely take a wide receiver. I think they can take a wide receiver. I think the Panthers could too.
Oh, I think the Panthers could depending on. I mean, they're probably done in free agency before the draft. I mean, I say probably because you never know.
Yeah.
But right now, they have left themselves in a pretty good spot where best offensive lineman, best linebacker, best wide receiver, best edge rusher, another maybe outside linebacker, cornerback, depending, somebody's going to fall. I don't know that it'll be Graham Barton, who ran a 4.8 at Duke's Pro Day today.
Very nice.
Yeah, how about that? As somebody who they believe is going to be maybe an elite center in the NFL. Graham, again, ran a 4.8 40. I mean, that's fast for a lineman. It's fast for a center. So, yeah, I think he's probably not going to be there at number 33.
I wouldn't be surprised, Adam, if and this is maybe a litmus test for is David Tepper still running things, but if we get a run on wide receivers, I would not be surprised if the Panthers, if David Tepper is still in charge. I think if he's not, then you wouldn't see this, but or if he's not if he's in charge, it's his team. But if he's not, the one.
Don't say it, Will.
But if he's the one, no. If they would trade their 2 seconds and move into the first.
Yeah, don't say
grab whatever wide receiver on the back end of that run. I'm just saying, if
right, I know
you don't want to see that, but that's the thing that you would expect if Tepper's in charge.
Yeah.
If Tepper is in charge, if Tepper's the one pushing the buttons, they're not even trade in, or his wife's doing it.
The Panthers, it has never worked out when they have traded up. It has always.
It doesn't work out when teams. If you trade up in the first round, I mean, it worked out for the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes,
right,
obviously, but they traded up from a low spot in the draft. The Bills did it the following year, right, where they go get Josh Allen, using that Chiefs. But the Bills actually were the ones who traded with Kansas City when they got Mahomes, which it's kind of ironic considering that he's ruined the franchise so many times. I think that typically speaking, even the Falcons traded up to get Julio Jones back in 2011. It was one where it worked out for the Falcons because they got the better player, but only because the Browns botched the draft picks. Typically speaking, you were better off trading back and accumulating capital.
Yep.
And I mean, even in spots where I mean, you could argue like the Rams straight up to get Jared Goff and the Eagles straight up to get Carson Wentz. I mean, yeah, the Rams eventually won a Super Bowl with the different. I mean, it's just hard to argue that trading up in the draft works out well in the first round works out well for anybody.
Especially trading from the second up to the first is like a premium for doing stuff like that, and the Panthers are bad at it to begin with. All right, so you've done a mock. CBS does like a mock every day. CBSSports.com. There's
Literally every day.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, and I can't even keep up with it. So tell me where we are. Are we really doing 3 quarterbacks? 1, 2, 3. J.J. McHenry top 10. Bo Nix top 15. What did I say? McHenry? I don't even know.
I think that's like an ancient political figure.
Yeah,
like a guy who did like a book of quotes.
J.J. McCarthy. Sorry.
I think we're at the 4 in the top 10. Seems likely. I mean, Jaden Daniels maybe is the one that is slipping a little bit. But
really?
Well, but so here's the thing.
Dan Orlovsky said he was better than Caleb Williams yesterday.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, yeah. The takes are flying out there in these streets. And Drake May's pro day is
today.
Yeah, I was going to go over there to Chapel Hill, but I had to hang out in the 336 for a little bit.
Gotcha.
The last couple of days, and I would say that Jim Harbaugh's out there. He's at the owners' meetings. He's like, yeah, every executive, like every personnel guy I talk to, thinks J.J. McCarthy is a lot. Yeah, this guy, they love this kid.
Right.
Hey, Jim, you're a 5. You're trying to trade down. Everyone sees what you're doing. But it does appear that J.J. McCarthy could go as high as 2. Caleb Williams, you can lock him at 1.
J.J. McCarthy, too.
There's been the comparisons made, and it's silly because Brock Purdy was the last pick in the draft, but people have comped McCarthy to Purdy, and you have this. Adam Peters, the GM for the Commanders, came from San Francisco, where he worked with Kyle Shanahan, so maybe he's a Shanahan-style quarterback. There is a case to be made. Sure, you didn't see a ton from McCarthy in college, but it's because the defense was so good. They ran the ball, and that's what Harbaugh's teams are, and that's what they might be with the Chargers. I think May will ultimately go 2, and then you see some I wouldn't be that shocked if the Patriots traded out. Or if the Cardinals traded out. You have the Giants, you have the Raiders, you have the Broncos. There's a lot of teams that are going to be interested in trading up to try and acquire a quarterback. And so, the Cardinals everybody assumes they're going to sit there and take Marvin Harrison Jr., but if and the odds are reactionary just because of the buzz out there that, there's a possibility that we see a trade out of 4. You can see a trade out of 3. I think the Vikings, of course, have the 2 first-round picks now. They want to trade up to get a quarterback, and there's just an obvious spot where they either trade to 4 with the Cardinals or trade to 5 with the Chargers, who clearly need to get some help on the offensive line. And I think the Chargers either trade out or stay there and take an offensive lineman like Joe Alt. I think we see a lot of movement at 3, 4, and 5. And that's really why the quarterbacks, we're seeing all these quarterbacks go in the top 5. They've all sort of lived up to the hype.
Yeah, well, nobody's lived up to anything just yet, but pro days are abounding.
Well, I mean, like we have it. Like it's one thing to say, all right, quarterbacks are going to go 1, 2, and 3 in December. It's a different thing to say it in like late March when we've gotten through the combine. McCarthy's stock is up. Jaden Daniels he threw some balls yesterday to by the way, Malik Neighbors might go ahead of Marvin Harrison.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Which is very crazy. Everything I have read is that Marvin Harrison walks onto an NFL field. He's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL tomorrow. Every single thing that I have read. I mean, I've obviously seen him play, but it's hard to judge in college because there aren't good enough cornerbacks that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. But all of the breakdowns that I have seen from people that I would respect, they all think that this guy is already.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, Malik Neighbors might go ahead of him.
That would be silly, but whatever.
Well, I mean, Malik Neighbors is awesome.
I'm sure he is.
Yes, Danny Kelly, the Ringer, I love this comp. It was it's like he does. You don't do like player comps. He does sort of like a reminds me of or like describes. Like Joe Alt, like a Massey Ferguson tractor or something like that, right? Or like a bulldozer. And then the Marvin Harrison comp was Marvin Harrison Jr. It was like reminds me of if Marvin Harrison had a larger son, like had a son, but he's larger than Marvin Harrison Sr., which is like, which is just what he is. I mean,
he is.
And so, yeah, I mean, he's going to be an awesome player. The top of this draft with the quarterbacks and the wide receivers and the offensive line, I mean, like, it is a loaded draft. It's what just emphasizes how stupid the Panthers are to trade away that pick last year.
Decisions that were made in the past, all we can do is get angry about them. Every time I think about turning down 2 1s and a 2 for Brian Burns at the trade deadline 2 years ago, it makes me angrier. And I'm not even a fan. I am not a Panthers fan, and the fact that you would turn down that for somebody who did not throw for 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns is absolutely ludicrous to me. It's like you don't understand the industry that you are operating in. How do you turn that down?
I'm paraphrasing my buddy Franklin here, but I mean, I thought he said it best on our text chain, but it's like, what is there a player in the NFL that you wouldn't give up, that you wouldn't take 2 firsts for, who isn't a quarterback?
Right.
That's it. And I mean, the answer was Aaron Donald in his prime. Like the Rams would not have taken 2 firsts for Aaron Donald, and that's fine. You have 3-time defensive player of the year, but like any non-quarterback, you take the 2 first and you figure it out later. I mean,
yes.
It's ridiculous.
It again, all of these decisions, the trading up for Bryce Young, the turning that down for Brian Burns, the getting what they didn't get for Brian Burns, all of those decisions they're all like already spent money. I can't worry about it as much as it makes me angry. And again, not a fan. I have no emotional tie to it. It's more comedy at this point. But again, with all of that said, they're not in a great draft position, but they're not in the worst draft position.
They actually are. I think they are.
No, well, I mean, they don't have a first-round pick, but they're not the only team that doesn't have a first-round pick.
That is true. The Houston Texans don't have one because they
had 2
traded theirs for a future first.
Look,
and have C.J. Stroud.
It's a bad franchise right now.
Defensive rookie of the year and the rating offensive rookie.
It's a bad franchise right now. Yeah, other than that, I was just talking specific to this draft. Picking 33 and 39.
I was trying to convince my dad to buy Panthers PSLs last night for some reason.
My gosh, I've seen Buffalo Bills PSL prices that are amazing, considering that the state of New York and Erie County are essentially bankrolling that stadium. It is unbelievable.
They're really expensive or really cheap?
Really expensive.
Like, how much is it? Like, what is a really expensive Bills PSL?
The club level will cost you $30,000 a seat.
Holy crap!
Yep. The other lower bowl and some other premium seating will be between $5,000 and $10,000 per seat. That's the PSL. That's the country club you want to join in Buffalo, New York. What a racket! What a racket the Pagulas are running.
PSL. I mean, PSLs are a racket in general. Right?
Well, yeah, but they didn't even pay for their own stadium.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They bent the state of New York and Erie County over a barrel. Never mind. I don't have to get into it. Will Brinson, you're the man. CBSSports.com, Pick 6 podcast, at Will Brinson on Twitter. Enjoy the 336. I will talk to you later.
All right, see you, buddy.
You got it. All right, when we come back, we'll stretch. And since it is Drake May's pro day, we have a full breakdown of his strengths and weaknesses from Greg Cosell, who is a film junkie. NFL Films, contributes to tons of NFL media. We'll give you that also next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, North Carolina, Adam Gold here, and you can say goodbye to busted brackets like mine because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a 1 seed, it's time to go dancing with America's #1 sportsbook, and that's FanDuel. Then you can bet on everything from the money line, who's going to win, over-unders, to which team will win it all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Take the court with $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 wager. Visit FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to get started. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Charlotte this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 25 different sports. The Body Armor State Games features 13,000 athletes and 700 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Harris Teeter, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
This year, more than 600,000 people are eligible for coverage under the new Medicaid expansion program passed by the North Carolina State Legislature. This means that more people than ever before qualify for services. Brian Floyd is the Chief Operating Officer of ECU Health and discusses these issues on this month's Conversations on Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association.
Rural communities are affected even more because people who don't have insurance will seek out care in the emergency department. We really want people to get Medicaid expansion, get to see a primary care doctor, and avoid the use of an emergency department that consumes those resources that might really be needed for true emergencies.
You can listen to the rest of this discussion on Conversations on the State of Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Learn more about Medicaid expansion and other important healthcare issues at nchealthcare.org. That's nchealthcare.org.
Think it's too pricey to pursue your interest and earn a degree? Well, if you're a North Carolinian from a household making $80,000 or less, think again. The Next NC Scholarship could cover more than half, if not all, of your tuition and fees at any NC community college or public university. This is money that doesn't have to be repaid. The Next NC Scholarship helps you know what you're getting because it combines federal and state-funded financial aid to form a new, simplified award. We're talking at least $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for a public university, making the cost of education more manageable. The Next NC Scholarship also helps you know where you're going, because you could see how much you could get to pay for the schools you're interested in. So picking the right path for you and your future is now easier than ever. Applying is as simple as filling out the FAFSA. Dig into the details at nextncscholarship.org. The Next NC Scholarship. Know what you're getting, know where you're going.
You don't need a 4-year degree to have a rewarding career that makes a difference in people's lives every day. As a public power line worker, you'll build and maintain a locally owned and operated electric system to keep the lights on in your community. 4 months in a community college program provides the training you need to begin your career as an apprentice line worker in public power. And being a local government employee in North Carolina comes with excellent benefits. To learn more about line worker and other public power careers, visit electricities.com.
This is Adam Gold.
What type of soup is Jason Kelsey?
He would be like a chicken and dumplings.
Oh, chicken and dumpling.
Yeah.
Very nice. Maybe like an Italian wedding soup. What kind of soup would Travis Kelsey be?
Travis, I feel like he'd be like a tomato bisque.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. We're going to place bets in a matter of moments. I've got baseball in the brain. We've got basketball tonight. We've got hockey as well. There's a lot for us.
Yeah.
We're very excited.
Yes.
Yes. So
good time of year.
we will, the best. All right, so we'll do all of that. Before we stretch, I just wanted to read a couple of the assessments from Greg Cosell on Drake May, who's having his pro day today. Quarterback at North Carolina, who should be I think he should be no worse than the second pick, but I don't do this for a living. I do this for a living. I don't do that for a living. Desirable combination of size, throwing ability, athleticism, possesses the needed traits of an NFL quarterback. That's just kind of basic. Easy, natural thrower with minimal effort, could drive the ball down the field, knee bend, hips, and core torque. Oh, man. I wish I had better core torque. I do. Explosive arm talent with the traits to make every throw. Can drive the ball at all levels with velocity and touch. Through with velocity when demanded and pace and touch when needed. It's actually a pretty good thing. So you can zip balls in there at times, and then you understand that sometimes it just needs a little bit of finesse. Catchable ball. Good athlete who can make second reaction plays, throwing and running. Also designed quarterback run game. Now, if your quarterback can't help you in the running game, then you might be looking at a different quarterback. But pretty much now, all quarterbacks can help you in the run game because all quarterbacks do that in college. It's just part of the whole mix now. Among the weaknesses were inconsistencies, staying in the pocket, creates his own pressure at times, and everything I read leads to this. It leads to his timing can be off, leaves throws on the field, doesn't recognize when some receivers are open, and here's what this says to me. Now, I'm not saying he's perfect, but everything that I read, and I'll retweet it, so if people want to go to my timeline at @AGoldFan, it sounds to me like didn't really trust that his receivers would be where they're supposed to be. So Will Brinson brought up Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is, I'm not saying it's a rarity, but it's a diminishing trait today among quarterbacks who throw the ball to spots knowing their receivers are going to be there. Because in college, you never have to do that. Either A, everybody is open because the cornerbacks, the defensive backs in college aren't very good at coverage. You know, the handful that are go in the first 10 picks of the draft. So at best, maybe there's 10 of them, right? You can't cover receivers in college football. There aren't enough good cornerbacks, defensive backs to cover good wide receivers. It's what actually also makes drafting wide receivers a little bit problematic. But so May's not used to throwing the ball for precise routes, but that's something that Purdy is really good at. And part of it is I know where my receivers are going to be. I know exactly where I'm throwing it. And I'm throwing it there before the receiver makes his move. That's what this negative about Drake May says to me, that he's unsure of where the open receiver is going to be because he doesn't trust that it will be. That's just my read on it. I could be wrong. Maybe he's no good. That's the other thing. But I think he is. All right, let's stretch.
Okay, so I've got baseball-themed topics for today that I'm excited for. 7-Eleven.
Gotta get a hot dog in the break.
I know. Well, speaking of hot dogs, 7-Eleven is selling hot dog-flavored sparkling water.
What?
Yeah, no, it's real.
That's gross.
I know. They say it's supposed to taste like one of their, quote, big bites, I guess you can get at 7-Elevens, but it's a carbonated liquid form. They've partnered with Miracle Seltzer, making miracle beverages, I guess. And it's one of 4 flavors, lemon lime, green apple, sweet orange, and hot dog. So they're calling it a, quote, daring flavor that pushes the boundaries of flavor innovation and is a delight even the most adventurous of palates will enjoy. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, about that. So this is supposed to be coming out next Monday. And in case you need a PSA, that is April Fool's Day. So this could absolutely be an April Fool's joke. But if you are so inclined to check it out, then check out the 7-Eleven on April Fool's Day.
There you go.
And you know what? We just have time. I'll save this one for tomorrow because we've got some bets to place.
All right.
Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so kicking things off, like you mentioned.
I won one yesterday. I won the basketball game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had, who was it that won on the road? The Suns won in Denver.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I had Nikita Kucherov as an anytime goal scorer, and he did with an empty net.
Empty net goal.
So
ended the game.
He did.
Watched it.
Like he does. But it is baseball today. Let's go Cubbies. Chicago Cubs are in Texas taking on the Rangers. Give me Cody Bellinger, who's still with the Cubs, to record 2+ hits. That's plus 270.
All right, here's what we're doing. We're doing a 2-game parlay in Major League Baseball. Orioles-Angels is our first game on the field at 3 o'clock. Give me the Orioles minus a 1.5. I think they're going to win.
Yeah.
Orioles minus a 1.5, and the Kansas City Royals to beat Minnesota later on, and that is plus 370.
Nice.
I've done these today, by the way.
Yeah. The next one, got to go to the ice. Our Canes are taking on the Red Wings. You know what? Maybe the highest scoring period will be the last one because that's when people like to get a little gutsy. So highest scoring period, third period, plus 195.
All right, here we go. Basketball tonight. North Carolina, minus 4.5, under 173.5. I just don't think this game is going to be like in the 90s, like people might think.
Yeah.
I think North Carolina is about an 85-72 winner.
Yeah, this
Maybe
isn't last
90
game.
to 77 winner.
Yeah.
But not at 173.5. I think Carolina covers, and it stays under 173.5.
Okay. Last one. The Capitals are taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Wow, it's been interesting watching both of these teams lately. I think it's going to go into overtime because I think they're both scrappy. Yes, plus 370.
All right. Canes, Red Wings tonight. Hurricanes over 6. Was it 5.5 or 6.5? Aho, anytime goal scorer. 3-team parlay, 3-way parlay.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here for FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And since they're live in North Carolina now and have been for a while, doesn't matter if your brackets look like trash. The Sweet 16 starts tonight. Let's go crazy. Well, we don't want to go crazy. Everything within your means. And if you sign up now, you get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, whether the Tar Heels do what you want the Tar Heels to do or not when you place your first $5 wager. $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 wager. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to get started. FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book, don't you know? Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
You call that a precision stop?
When a rookie stunt driver, just give me a shot, meets the trainer who thought he'd seen it all.
Come on, focus.
They'll soon find out that behind the wheel of the Nissan Rogue, with the power of VC Turbo and the most fuel-efficient gas-powered engine in its class,
watch this,
the protege can become a master. But this is no ordinary blockbuster. It's a Nissan sales event ad.
Woo! Level up your drive with 1.9% APR financing for 60 months on the 2023 Nissan Rogue. Shop the Nissan sales event. Visit your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today. Auto Pacific segmentation excluding hybrids and electric vehicles. 2024 EPA fuel economy estimates from 28 city 34 highway to 30 city 37 highway for 2024 Nissan Rogue. Actual mileage may vary. For well-qualified buyers, 1.9% APR financing for 60 months on new 2023 Rogue and dealer stock. Example, 60 months financing at $1,748 per month per thousand financed. Actual down payment may vary. Subject to residency restrictions and NMAC credit approval. Not all buyers qualify. Dealer contribution may affect actual price set by dealer. Contact dealer for details. Ends 4/1/24.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. no credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards, get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Charlie did not die from an overdose. Charlie was poisoned.
No other family should go through this. It's just horrific.
Go to safe.pharmacy. Use the free tool. Learn if the online pharmacy you're using is safe.
Adam Gold here from my friends at CertaPro Painters, and I call them my friends because I have used them before, and let me tell you, they know how important your home is to you. They made that clear to me. That's why they're focused on helping you bring a fresh color to your home, and they're great in even the hard-to-reach places we have vaulted ceilings. Each CertaPro Painters business is also independently owned and operated. In other words, they live right here in our community. You can schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painting.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
You can feel the madness!
Go to GotBrian.com. That's GotBrian.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Shot clock down to 7. Carolina starts its action. Cadeau kicks it to Ingram. A three from the left wing is nothing but net. Do it, big boy. Fields up 40-31. Michigan State has time the other way. Hogard down low to Sissoko. Tipped away by Baycott, and that's how the half will end. Carolina closes the first half on a 23-3 run over the final 7 minutes and 51 seconds.
Facts only on the program. Debbie Antonelli will join us from Portland coming up in just a little bit. She's out there with the women's regional. We could talk a little bit about that. We could talk about the Wolfpack. She's done both tournaments. She did the men's. She worked for CBS and Turner the first week of the men's tournament. Now she is picking up the women's field during the regionals. Debbie is super talented, an NC State, player under Kay Yao, and she's awesome at her job. We will talk hoops with Debbie Antonelli coming up in just a little bit. All right, we have Wall of Sound to get to. Let's wall it.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
I'm actually not even sure what that means, but that's fine.
I like it.
We'll talk to Debbie Antonelli in just a few. All right, let's get to tonight's game between Carolina and Alabama. It's the second game in Los Angeles. First will be Clemson and Arizona. Hubert Davis on his view of the Crimson Tide.
I mean, Coach Oates has done a terrific job at Alabama. He's a great coach, and his teams have been consistent every year. From a defensive standpoint, tremendous athleticism. They can get steals and deflections, great rebounding team. They pressure you. They try to dictate and decide how you play on the offensive end. And then from an offensive standpoint, it's straightforward and clear. They're trying to get threes, layups and dunks and free throws, and they've got the personnel to be able to do it. Great guard play. Size at the 4 and the 5 positions that can shoot threes and can finish around the basket. So they propose a lot of problems and challenges for you, but we're really excited about the challenge of playing them tomorrow night.
They do. They have a lot of guys who shoot the ball. I mean, a ton of guys that pull the trigger. So, I know prop bets are under fire today, but whatever the attempted three-point shot total is, over. seems like a good bet. R.J. Davis. Marcus Spears is getting a lot of run, a lot of pub in this tournament. He is a great player. R.J. Davis, what does he see from his counterpart?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good matchup, both All-American guards, and I have a lot of respect for his game. Just the way he orchestrates the offense, he's able to get to his spots, does a good job of kind of just setting his man up, using ball screens, and he's the head of the snake. So I think it's going to be a good matchup from both sides, from my end and his end. And they put him a lot of good actions for him to be great and for him to find shots for himself, for his teammates. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be not just a matchup game, but a whole team environment game where it's not just me versus Marcus Spears, it's UNC versus Alabama.
That is also accurate. Armando Bacot, his teammate, on maybe carrying the flag for the league.
It's a lot of stuff that goes into it. I think most ACC programs are playing a high-level non-conference schedule too, so I think that really plays a factor, and I feel like another conferences might not be as strong, or they're kind of manipulating it in a way in some sense. And I mean, this year was definitely crazy because you look at how great NC State has been playing, how great Duke has been playing, but Clemson too has been great. But I mean, you look at teams like Pitt, who's beaten 3 or 4 of those teams that I just named, and also too UVA, they obviously got out, but I think this year was a lot of ACC teams that were deserving that didn't get a chance to make it. And hopefully, I think everyone sees just after this year like how competitive ACC basketball is and how good the teams are.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's true. I'm not sure how many of those teams like Pitt or Wake, really had the profile to get in. That doesn't mean they weren't good enough, which I think we've tried to distinguish the difference between the two all year long. All right, Hurricanes can wrap up a playoff spot tonight with a win over the Detroit Red Wings, which I kind of like 4-1 or 4-2 Carolina tonight. 4-1 or 4-2.
Yeah, because you got to have that empty netter just in case.
Maybe that'll be Andrei Svechnikov's goal if they do get an empty netter. And here's Rod Brindamore on the potential of Jesper Fast and Martin Necas drawing back in.
Necas just, he wasn't feeling 100%. Quickie, I think, is right around the corner. Whether he plays tomorrow or not, I'm not sure, but definitely, it's within the next game or so, I would assume.
Hopefully. And when they are fully operational, I think it will be really interesting to see what the lineup looks like, what the combinations are. I am very confident that we are going to see Aho, Gensel, and Jarvis stay together. The only time you'll see it broken up, I think, is if Rod is just in one of those moods and nothing is working, and he just says, all right, we're going to throw stuff at the wall here, and we'll figure it out. Hopefully they don't have too many more of those games or any more of those games. But, man, has Gensel, Aho, and Jarvis been good. Really good. The Gadge line. Is that anything?
It should be. I like when lines have names.
Yeah. I mean, SAT sounds good, right?
It does. Well, unless you have to take an SAT. Those days were not fun.
I did fairly well.
Yeah.
On my SATs.
It wasn't bad. It was just the studying for it.
Oh, you studied?
Awful.
You studied for those? I didn't study for those. I didn't take SAT prep courses. I didn't take any of that. I just went and took them.
Yeah.
I just went and took them.
Yeah.
I brought all of my number 2 pencils.
That's always good.
Are there other number pencils? Is there a number 1 pencil?
I don't know. See,
is there a number 4 pencil?
Back in my day, we had the mechanical pencils, so that's why they would say number 2.
My kid loves those. I hated them.
Yeah. So
maybe I just pressed too hard. I don't know.
True.
I need So if anybody knows, at A Gold Fan, tell me. Let me know. Let me know if there are other pencils other than number 2 pencils.
Yes, these are important.
I think that's a valid question.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, Christian Laettner was on with Mike Greenberg today on ESPN Radio. And Christian is not a fan of the modern college ecosystem.
They got to take out the NIL. They got to wipe that out. They got to change the transfer portal. I know everyone's saying the horses out of the barn and you can't take stuff back, but how can you establish any type of culture at a school when you're getting new kids every year? That would mean every year was like my freshman year at Duke, and you're so much better your third, your fourth year when you're under one system, one program, one coach, one specifically defined culture the way you want to play offense, the way you want to play defense. I don't know how the coaches do it in today's game, and that's why some of the better ones are starting to quit. It's just horrible. It's horrible. I hope they change it.
All right. There's nothing really incorrect about what Leitner said about the game today, because it is so transient. Players can, move in and out. They can transfer here. They can transfer there. In fact, the courts have determined that the schools can't really do anything to stop kids from transferring and being immediately eligible. That's what the courts have said. Maybe we should take our cue from that and recognize that this whole thing has been a scheme the whole time, right? But all of these things can be achieved. Culture, continuity, without eliminating the transfer portal, without eliminating name, image, and likeness, with simply allowing for collective bargaining. All of it. Every single thing that Leitner wants out of college, like to harken back to the days where he was a freshman, right? Everything he wants can be achieved if two parties get to a bargaining table and decide on a working arrangement between the players and the universities. Every single thing he wants can be accomplished simply by that. And it's coming. It's going to happen. Whether it happens next year or the year after or the year after that, it's going to happen. And then Christian won't sound like he's 90.
Yeah.
Back in my day,
yeah,
we used to have to walk uphill to school both ways in the snow.
He heard me talk about mechanical pencils. Now all of a sudden,
I understand Christian's point. I do, because I agree that the sports are better if we have more familiarity with them and if they have more familiarity with each other. The sports, the games, the play is better. The product is better. All right, when we come back, Debbie Antonelli from Portland on the Wolfpack men and women. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The Triangle needs to recognize, I hope everybody does, how amazing what is going on in the NCAA tournament is for us. 3 teams from this small of an area making it to the Sweet 16, that happens rarely, like once a decade here. And it happens never, like absolutely never, anywhere else.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Coach Pete D'Arruda, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. Are you a homeowner? No, that's another ad. If you're a homeowner, I have something for you. We all hate termites. They eat at the foundation of your house. There are financial termites, and Coach Pete D'Arruda can help you avoid them in retirement planning. Speaking of retirement planning, there's nobody better on planet Earth than helping you plan for retirement than Coach Pete D'Arruda at Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. All you have to do is text Adam to 600-700 right now, and you'll get one of Coach Pete's best-selling books. He's got a bunch of those, and a total customized retirement plan for you, free of charge. It's a $1,000 value to other people who don't know me, who don't know Coach Pete D'Arruda. Capital Financial Advisory Group. Plan for your retirement and avoid the financial termites. Coach Pete D'Arruda. Text Adam to 600-700 today.
It's bow time. Sometimes the craving for Bojangles Supremes is so strong you've just got to have them, even when your gas tank is on empty and Bojangles is still 10 miles down the highway. Nothing beats the flavor of Bojangles' juicy golden Supremes, especially when they're part of a perfect combo with 4 boldly seasoned chicken Supremes, a made-from-scratch biscuit, fixin', and some legendary iced tea. The only thing that can satisfy your hunger is that delicious southern flavor. So when the craving is supreme, put the pedal to the metal. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Hey friends, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for my team at FanDuel, and I want you to say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a 1 seed, it's time to go dancing with America's #1 sportsbook. You can bet on everything from the money line, pick those winners, to over-unders, to which team cuts down the nets, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So take the court with $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com/Paul, Paul with a capital P, and get started. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
This is Adam Gold.
Anti-vax, anti-sax. Who's going to say no to that on the campaign trail? You can put that on a bumper sticker. You can slap that on the podium when Aaron Rodgers is at the campaign rally. You're not going to be a football player for the Jets and be on the ticket and campaign. You can't do both.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Kind of feels like the glory days of ACC basketball, doesn't it? 4 teams in the Sweet 16 on the men's side, 3 on the women's side, including 2 where pride of NC State, Debbie Antonelli, who played for KU, is going to join us. She is in Portland. The Wolfpack will take on Stanford. Duke will play UConn. I remember going to a 1-2 Duke-UConn game at Cameron Indoor Stadium a long, long time ago. Debbie Antonelli, how are you?
What's up, Adam? Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's great to talk to you.
It's great to talk to you. First of all, I want to start with the women. I know that there are people out there who just can't get by with simply recognizing how much popularity the women's game has. They must compare television ratings. But the TV ratings for the women's tournament have been amazing. Almost 5 million people watched the Iowa-West Virginia second round game. 5 million almost watched that, which is more than watched like Zion, when a regular season Duke-Carolina game when Zion Williamson was playing. That's what Caitlin Clark has done. Just your thoughts on the women's game as it sits right now.
Well, I have chills and a smile because for as long as I've been in it, I've been preaching how good the product is. The product is the narrative. It has always been the narrative around the women's game. Now people are starting to pay attention, and I have coined the phrase in November, Clarkonomics, because that's exactly what we're experiencing. It is a derivative directly from everything that Caitlin has done around the game this year, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And it has been amazing to watch the number of people that have caught on or have decided that, yeah, it's worthy of their time. It's more than worthy of their time. It's entertaining. The product has always been good. And I couldn't be more proud as many people like me or during my time that have helped pushed and have efforted to make the game as visible as possible to see what's happening now.
So, and it's not just her. I'll get to some other players in a second. She is getting pushback on being like, I'm playing with emotion, and people are reading her lips and she's cursing. And I'm like, are you people all this fragile that you wouldn't be the same? You wouldn't react the same way if you saw a guy doing it. Why can't we accept women as fierce, competitive, sometimes angry and petty athletes like we can the guys?
Athletes is the key word here. That is it. Once they step between the lines, that is exactly it. Do you really think, or anybody listening think, that the men and the women prepare, train, or do anything differently? They don't. They spend the same amount of time in the weight room, on the track, and all the things that come with improving their skill set. The resources around the game are equal to what the men have on the college side. And because players now have name, image, and likeness opportunities, they can move around in the portal the way they want and build super teams, if you will. I mean, we all remember taking our talents to South Beach, right? I mean, that's exactly what we're seeing in the women's game, and it's happening on the men's side too. But more people are paying attention. The ratings reflect that. The investment in the game is so important right now, and I've looked at the first 50 years of Title IX as opportunity, and the next 50 is about investment, and it's a mindset shift that is going to take some time because we know the NCAA does not move very quickly.
No.
But from an economic standpoint and forecasting forward, we need to get there quickly because our game is changing dramatically right in front of our eyes every day. And it's exciting to watch, and I believe the leadership around our game is going to get on board soon.
All right, so in the men's tournament, they play at 8 different sub-regionals, and they advance to 4 separate regional sites before getting to the Final Four. There's some that think that the women's game is at a point where they don't need home sites for the opening rounds, where there's 16 different home sites, and we're just at 2 regional sites. You're going to be busy, by the way, in Portland. There's a lot of basketball to deal with. Where are you on progressing to where it mirrors the way the men's tournament is structured?
You know, I'm good right now with first and second round games on home sites. Just like many professional franchises, teams that earn their way to host. We see it through the playoffs in the NFL. We see it in in the NBA.
Yep.
So I don't mind it because we've had incredible attendance growth the last couple of years on the first and second round site. So I like it. I'm good with it. But when it comes to the regionals, this is not a new idea. It's a think tank idea I've had for 15 years. I've always wanted one site, very similar to what baseball does in Omaha and softball does in Oklahoma City. Those 2 places, Omaha and Oklahoma City, didn't start out becoming destination cities, but that's what they are for those respective sports. And I think in women's basketball, 2 regionals creates the same problems for the fans that 4 regionals created. You don't know where you're going. You can't buy anything in advance. At Christmas morning, you wake up. You would love to have airline, hotel, and game tickets to go somewhere that's a destination city to celebrate our game with 16 teams. That's what I've advocated for 15 years. It took the NCAA a long time to move to 2, but I do think there are some inherent issues for the fan with 2 regionals and not one spot.
Debbie Antonelli, who's out in Portland, the women's regionals. There's Regional 3 and Regional 4, they're calling them. They probably should name them after legendary players. That would be nice. That's what hockey used to do with divisions, and then we don't even do that anymore. Gino Auriemma, after UConn advanced to the Sweet 16, and they will play Duke coming up in a couple of days, he said that Paige Beckers, his star, was the best player in college basketball. Is he just, caping up for his best player, or can you make that argument? She's an amazing player.
Well, she's certainly one of the top players. I don't think this year she's been the best player. Caitlin Clark has been the best player all season long. I think you'd have a hard argument trying to say anything else. But, of course, he would say that, and you'd expect him to say that. I'm sure Tara Vanderveer thinks Cameron Brink is the best player in the country. So that's what coaches do. And now that he's getting back to the national stage, last year, this is 30 consecutive Sweet 16s for UConn. Think about that. I mean, just let that marinate for a
No.
second. Like,
Amazing.
this is a very strategic conversation by him. Paige is going to be a first-team All-American. She won and swept all the National Player of the Year awards when she and Caitlin Clark were freshmen.
Right.
And I think Caitlin is the best player right now, and that's okay. That doesn't diminish anything that Paige does or doesn't shine a lesser light on her skill set. I'm looking forward to seeing her in person because she's somebody that you buy a ticket to go see. We're talking about ticket-selling players right now, and that's exactly what we want the game to reflect.
I mean, the scenes, I would expect the scenes in Iowa City to be that for Caitlin Clark. But the TV numbers when she's on screen have been amazing, and I've enjoyed the way that she and Angel Reese from LSU, who people created this rivalry between the two, and maybe there's a competitive rivalry, but they created some animosity between the two. I appreciate at least the public way they have kind of defended one another. So do you like the Wolf? We haven't even talked about the Wolfpack or the Blue Devils, who are both out where you are. What chances do you give both of marching on?
Well, I'm for NC State, I'm on the Westwood one side of the bracket, and the other side of the bracket for me will be ESPN with Duke. So for NC State, it's a pretty simple game plan for both coaches. I don't think there's very much complexity to this one at all. Stanford has two great post players on the inside. NC State's going to have to figure out how to deal with them, to rebound with them, hopefully get them in foul trouble, to be able to navigate scoring in the paint. On the other side, Stanford's hasn't seen guards like NC State has.
Right.
Shania Rivers and Isaiah James and Madison Hayes, the three of them together, and then when Zoe Brooks comes off the bench, there's a lot of athleticism and length there. It's a very connected group. So it's a pretty simple game plan. Can NC State stop the post play of Stanford, and can Stanford stop the guard play in the backcourt of NC State?
What about Duke and UConn? Can Duke handle that?
I think Duke is one of the better defensive teams, and I'm certainly 100% sure that Coach Lawson will have a game plan defensively in place. The problem for them is going to be scoring with UConn.
Mm-hmm.
You got to slow them down a little bit and take something away. But, one of the tendencies for Duke is to hard hedge every ball screen action, and UConn plays a lot of 5 out, a lot of motion, a lot of back cutting. So their system and their Princeton offense is set up perfectly for the overplaying, aggressive Duke defense. Now, is Duke going to be able to back off a little bit? Can they score in transition? Can they rebound and get up the floor? And then how do you limit Paige Beckers because you're not going to stop her? So does Duke have a path? Yes, they would. But I think UConn, with their experience and their veteran players, even though they don't have a lot of depth, you don't need a lot of depth when you get here. The timeouts are long enough.
Debbie Antonelli, before I let you go, let's talk a little bit about the men's side. And I watched you, I listened to you during the first round of the tournament. The Wolfpack are more than just a Cinderella. I think they look like the team I think most of us thought they might turn into over the course of the season. DJ Burns playing at a high level. DJ Horn didn't even have to play great against Oakland. He went 40 minutes without scoring, but they got contributions from so many different places. What do you like right now about what NC State's doing?
Well, I love the momentum that they've been playing with, for sure. I mean, and the belief that they have. They never gave up believing. I had them several times this year. They lost a lot of close games. They didn't execute late. I think DJ's conditioning since February has definitely, DJ Burns, has had an impact on his sustainability in the game. I mean, he is unreal, right? You can't guard him. You can't guard him one-on-one. You bring a double, he's going to make the right read. His IQ is understated. It'll be a problem. And I don't expect DJ Horn not to score in a Sweet 16 game. So Michael O'Connell has played well, not turning the ball over. He's been a little bit more aggressive, looking to score. That is a big difference in the postseason for him. He's always taking care of the ball. I think that's important. And then Ben Middlebrooks, you're getting contributions from Mohammed. I mean, it's Diarra. It is exciting to watch. And as an NC State fan who's listening right now, you got to be excited about what you're seeing on the floor right now from both your teams, but especially the job that Kevin Keats has done. I am so excited for him personally because he never stopped believing that they could win.
Yeah, even at the end of the season, he definitely had carried that air of optimism and confidence. What chance do you give Duke against Houston?
Yeah, Houston is a little beat up, and I actually picked Houston at the beginning of the season after I covered them 3 straight days in Charleston. I was like, wow, that defense is really tough because nobody traps middle ball screens and stuff in the middle of the floor and can recover the way they can. It's going to be a tough competitive matchup. The backcourt of Houston is really, really good. L.J. Cryer and Jamal Shead are fantastic and play well together. Kelvin taking on a North Carolina school, that's got to be a little personal for him too because he's from the state of North Carolina. But I think Filipowski will be the difference. He can play in space. He can short roll. They can shallow cut against all that ball screen because, Houston's going to bring 2 to the ball. And so I think Duke has a chance. I definitely think so. They can move the ball, stay spaced, and make Houston chase.
Yeah.
They've got enough offense to do so.
Yeah, and if Jared McCain hits 8 threes again,
that helps.
My gosh. Absolutely amazing. Debbie Antonelli, I appreciate your time. At Debbie Antonelli, she makes it easy on Twitter. Have fun. I know you're going to be busy. There's a lot of basketball in Portland, but I know you love it. So I do appreciate you carving out a few minutes.
I do love it, Adam. Thank you for having me on your show. Have me back when these teams advance.
You got it. All right.
All right, man.
I love
Take
that.
care.
You too. I love that optimism. All right. So we'll book Debbie Antonelli for next week when we got a lot more teams still playing ball.
I like it.
I am very excited. There's a lot going on. By the way, the Yankees just placed Garrett Cole, their ace, on the 60-day DL.
Ooh.
And I don't know if it's retroactive to something, but that usually means it's a long time.
Yeah.
So he's got an elbow issue. They don't believe it's Tommy John-ish, but when you have an elbow issue, you just never know.
Yeah.
So for Yankee fans, that's obviously a blow. He is their best starting pitcher. So Met fans have something in common with Yankee fans.
Yeah.
Both of our starting, number one starters are not going to be with the team at the start of the season.
There you go.
Yankees starting pitcher is better though than the Mets starting pitcher. But baseball season is here. And with that said, so Shohei Ohtani's going through his gambling issues, right? On Tuesday, a book was published about the rise and fall of Pete Rose. So we're going to talk to Keith O'Brien, who wrote that book, because I just think it's kind of topical when Major League Baseball is dealing with whatever cloud is hovering over Shohei Ohtani. The Charlie Hustle, the rise and fall of Pete Rose, with Keith O'Brien next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, North Carolina, Adam Gold here, and you can say goodbye to busted brackets like mine because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a 1 seed, it's time to go dancing with America's #1 sportsbook, and that's FanDuel. Then you can bet on everything from the money line, who's going to win, over-unders, to which team will win it all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Take the court with $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 wager. Visit FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to get started. FanDuel.com, promo code AGS. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Charlotte this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 25 different sports. The Body Armor State Games features 13,000 athletes and 700 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Harris Teeter, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
This year, more than 600,000 people are eligible for coverage under the new Medicaid expansion program passed by the North Carolina state legislature. This means that more people than ever before qualify for services. Brian Floyd is the chief operating officer of ECU Health and discusses these issues on this month's Conversations on Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association.
Rural communities are affected even more because people who don't have insurance will seek out care in the emergency department. We really want people to get Medicaid expansion, get to see a primary care doctor, and avoid the use of an emergency department that consumes those resources that might really be needed for true emergencies.
You can listen to the rest of this discussion on Conversations on the State of Healthcare podcast with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Learn more about Medicaid expansion and other important healthcare issues at nchealthcare.org. That's nchealthcare.org.
Think it's too pricey to pursue your interest and earn a degree? Well, if you're a North Carolinian from a household making $80,000 or less, think again. The Next NC Scholarship could cover more than half, if not all, of your tuition and fees at any NC community college or public university. This is money that doesn't have to be repaid. The Next NC Scholarship helps you know what you're getting because it combines federal and state-funded financial aid to form a new, simplified award. We're talking at least $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for a public university, making the cost of education more manageable. The Next NC Scholarship also helps you know where you're going because you could see how much you could get to pay for the schools you're interested in. So picking the right path for you and your future is now easier than ever. Applying is as simple as filling out the FAFSA. Dig into the details at nextncscholarship.org. The Next NC Scholarship. Know what you're getting, know where you're going.
You don't need a 4-year degree to have a rewarding career that makes a difference in people's lives every day. As a public power line worker, you'll build and maintain a locally owned and operated electric system to keep the lights on in your community. 4 months in a community college program provides the training you need to begin your career as an apprentice line worker in public power. And being a local government employee in North Carolina comes with excellent benefits. To learn more about line worker and other public power careers, visit electricities.com.
Starlight Children's Foundation brightens the lives of sick kids like my son Finn, who was born with congenital heart disease. Learn more about Starlight by visiting starlight.org today.
This is Adam Gold.
If the kids want to get on the floor, they're going to get on the floor.
They'll find a way.
There are too many ways to get on the floor.
Yeah, and they've been drinking liquid courage all day.
And that is very possible, but only the ones that are old enough.
Only the older ones, yes.
So, the Adam Gold Show.
Keith O'Brien is the author of the book called Charlie Hustle, The Rise and Fall of Pete Rose and the Last Glory Days of Baseball. And I can't think of a more appropriate conversation to have now than since what's going on with Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. But I want to focus on Charlie Hustle and Keith O'Brien, who joins us. I appreciate your time, sir. You had no idea that this would all be so prescient, so let me get into why you wanted to write this book and what you hope to accomplish with it.
Well, on the one hand, we had no idea that we could be so prescient, and yet, right. In the book, which of course recounts the rise and fall of Pete Rose and the gambling scandal that brought him down 35 years ago, it is actually predicted in the last pages of the book that we are certainly bound for another scandal. Indeed, the men who chased Pete Rose and pursued him in 1989 and put their careers on the line to investigate him at that time have been predicting this for years. So one reason why I wanted to write this book is because the world has absolutely changed in the 35 years that Pete Rose has been banned from baseball, and it's certainly changed in the last 6 years since the sweeping legalization of sports gambling in America. Obviously, as you and your listeners know, a player who still wagers on the game today or on his own team would face banishment just as Pete did. But certainly our acceptance of gambling, our cultural recognition of gambling is completely different today than it was just a couple of years ago. And the second reason really is, I feel like in the past, the story of Pete Rose has been too often told as a baseball story. And I want to be clear, there's obviously a lot of baseball in this book. But, I saw this from the beginning as a human story. The story of an ordinary man from an ordinary working class neighborhood on the west side of Cincinnati, of ordinary talent and athleticism, who scrapes and claws his way to the top with the help of a lot of lucky breaks, and then sort of loses it all. And that's a story that I think, anyone can appreciate.
Keith O'Brien is the author of Charlie Hustle, The Rise and Fall of Pete Rose in the Last Glory Days of Baseball, on a baseball sense. And this is why Pete Rose, I think, resonated so much. And my youth growing up in the New York area, and I was actually at the game, I'm sure you know about it, where he fought on the infield with Buddy Harrelson in the 1973 playoffs. And everybody thinks they were. I was 6 or whatever, however old I was, but I was the first playoff game I ever went to. Rose's style resonated with everybody who grew up playing the game, because it wasn't about, awesome power like Henry Aaron or, players like that. It was about hard work, hustle, versatility, played so many different positions, came up as a second baseman, played left field, played third base, played first base, switch hitter. We all wanted to play the game like Pete Rose. I taught myself how to head first slide because of the way Pete Rose slid into the bases. I mean, it was violent. And so he just resonated with people. And I think today, even today, people are they wish that Pete Rose would have handled everything that happened differently. Do you get the sense that, I guess, if he had handled it differently, then maybe baseball would look at him differently?
So for starters, I just want to agree with you about, your memories of him and why he resonated so much with fans. People loved to see him play and cheered for him for all the reasons you mentioned. And it was through that style of play that made him an icon. I mean, forget about the World Series titles and the MVP and the batting titles and of course the all-time hit record. Even if Pete didn't have those things, people still would have cared about him. Mm-hmm. People still would have gravitated to him. But sadly, yes, that same style of play, those same characteristics that made him successful as a player are, in my opinion, I think the book also shows, the same reasons why he's going to fail as a man. Yeah. He succeeds on the field because he refuses to bend. He will not be weak. He will not be vulnerable. And he always believes, Pete Rose always believes, he's going to prevail. And these same qualities, this unwillingness to be vulnerable, this unwillingness to appear weak, this enduring belief that he will prevail no matter what, even when the odds are stacked against him, are the same reasons why he cannot be honest when baseball first confronts him about his gambling in February 1989, and cannot be honest in the months to follow, and then cannot be honest for 15 more years, and in some ways isn't totally fully honest today. And my reporting shows in Charlie Hustle, in the book, that if Pete had taken a different course and made a different decision and had been honest in early 1989 or those early months of 1989 when he was being questioned, I do believe the story is different. The narrative is different.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. And I forget the year. You even go back to the All-Star game when Jim Gray interviewed him on the field, and it was probably not the right time to do the interview Jim Gray ultimately tried to do. And they made, you could tell Rose became a sympathetic figure, and there were so many people, even those of us who were not Rose fans but loved the way he played. I was a Mets fan. You couldn't be a Pete Rose fan and and be a Mets fan at the same time. That Venn diagram are two separate circles. He was booed every time he stepped on the field at Shea Stadium, even when he wasn't with the Reds anymore. When he came in with the Phillies or the Expos, he was booed on the field. But he was turned into a sympathetic figure because that wasn't the place for like a public humiliation of somebody like that. And I just always thought that he would be the perfect person to be like, a national game analyst because he had so much credibility as a ball player that if he had just taken a different tack, he might have been hailed in his post-managerial career.
Certainly a lot of missed opportunities for Pete Rose over the years to reckon with what he did. And that was another reason why I wanted to do this project. And, I did get unprecedented access to Pete Rose. Never before has Pete Rose spoken to an author for a book unless he had editorial control. Mm-hmm. And he did not have that here. And yet he still granted me 27 hours of interviews, Pete Rose did, before he ultimately stopped calling me back. But in those interviews and in hundreds of hours of interviews with other people who were in Pete's orbit and at times in his inner circle, I do think, I have been able to render a portrait of a man who, regardless of how you feel about him, whether you root for him or not, I believe is compelling. He is, again, whether you like him or not, one of the most iconic, mm-hmm. controversial, and fascinating athletes of the 20th century.
Oh, I entirely agree, and there are still people today that don't understand why Rose and his transgressions are viewed differently than, we'll just say, Barry Bonds and his transgressions, or Alex Rodriguez and his multiple positive steroid tests, things like that. And my argument is that, neither of those drew the actual validity of the competition into question, just whether or not we should apply the same logic to the statistics they put up. Keith O'Brien, author of Charlie Hustle, The Rise and Fall of Pete Rose and the Last Glory Days of Baseball. What about his life today? What is Rose doing today other than, I've been to Vegas twice. Both times I was there, he was signing autographs in the shops at Caesars outside a memorabilia store. What is Rose today, and is there any path back to baseball for him?
Pete Rose turns 83 years old next month,
Amazing.
And like a lot of aging ball players, his main source of income is autograph shows and appearance fees. He's not the only one out there doing that. There are many old stars who do, and many of them didn't make the money, of course, that players make today. It's an interesting question about is there a road back for Pete? And the honest answer is I don't know. But I will say this, the recent allegations and story surrounding Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter in Los Angeles make clear all over again to those of us who might have forgotten that we just don't really know these guys that we cheer for. We don't know what's happening behind closed doors. We don't know what's happening in their inner circle. We don't know who they really are. And I think, as we move forward here, not just with this current story unfolding with Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter, but other gambling scandals sure to come, I do believe there will be an evolution of opinion on how we view gambling. Because, again, 6 years ago, no one would have thought that we could sit on our couches watching a game and place bets on our phone,
right,
or go to the game and place bets at kiosks at the gates of the stadium. I think the evolution has already happened, has been swift and radical, and I think there will be more changes that will reframe how we think about Pete Rose.
Well, I don't know if we're going to change the way we think about Rose. You may be right. I mean, it's kind of hard to predict. But I do know how we think of him as a ball player, and that's why I believe that he'll always have a legion of fans that remember the days. And you actually, it's in the last part of your title, the last glory days of baseball. I mean, it's hard to argue that the game is not the same today as it was then. It was a more, I don't know if it's not more athletic. It was a different type of baseball. It wasn't, full of analytics, swing for the fences, launch angle, and all of that. It was a different type of baseball, and I think it's the baseball that so many of us kind of grew up with and fell in love with. I hope the book does incredible work. By the way, did you see the Rose quick video where he says, "I wish I had an interpreter"?
I did indeed see that video, as many folks have, and my initial reaction was that seems like a classic Pete Rose.
No question about it. I was absolutely dying when I saw that. I thought, well, I don't think you're necessarily wrong about that, but maybe it would have helped. He certainly would have done with some better advice. I would say that. Keith O'Brien, author of Charlie Hustle, The Rise and Fall of Pete Rose in the Last Glory Days of Baseball. I appreciate your time. It's out today. Thank you very much. I hope we can talk again.
Thanks so much, Adam. I appreciate it.
That was a fun conversation for me. And again, I was never a Pete Rose fan. But if you were a baseball fan, you probably loved the way Pete Rose played. I mean, it was hard not to. I mean, look, we can't pretend that he wasn't talented. He was talented. He was a great baseball player. You have to have a level of talent to have been able to play 4 different positions. He was an all-star at 4 different positions. Second, left, third, first. All-star. Now, he's an all-star primarily because he could hit. And he was a switch hitter. And he was the same hitter, really, from both sides of the plate. But it was the style with which he played. That was the difference. And unfortunately for Pete, he was a gambler. And at the time, we didn't have, unless you went to Vegas, we didn't have legalized sports wagering, so he's gambling with bookies. And as a manager, you can't do that. You can't be Rose is not in jail, right? He's not in jail. He just can't have anything official to do with the sport.
Yeah.
He can't work for a team. He can't work for the league. I wish that he had handled the aftermath of all of that differently. Because Rose would be a pretty good ambassador for the way the game was played.
Oh, yeah.
But, you really can't change people.
Mm-mm.
That's it's unfortunate for that. But we're about to start the season in 15 minutes.
Yep.
First game will be in Baltimore. So I mentioned it the other day. I spent 3 years working in Charm City. I worked for the biggest radio station in the market. I worked for WBAL Radio. They were I think they still are, the Orioles flagship. I went to tons of games at Camden Yards. It is truly one of the truly one of the best stadiums I've ever been in the big leagues. It was the first of these throwback stadiums, right? And then I think it was the HOK was the company that built it. And now we're seeing those types of stadiums everywhere. Everybody's got one, right? Like different. We went from having cookie cutter, all the outfield dimensions are the same, to now nuance ballparks where, look in right field, it's only 310 down the line. That would be short for a lot of teams. Like if you go to Yankee Stadium, I think it's 308 down the line in right field. And home runs to right field are relatively easy to hit. You don't have to get all of it. You just need to get some of it, and you can hit a ball out to right field in Yankee Stadium. But it's just one of those ballparks that just make you kind of just appreciate the game. And Baltimore, with what happened with the Key Bridge the other day, I'll just bet you it's a pretty emotional day for the city. And on top of that, they've got themselves a good team. Got themselves a legitimately good team that could, make a run. Not only during the regular season, but in the postseason. So good for the Orioles, good for Orioles fans, and good for getting rid of the Angelos family.
Yeah.
Ruining
That's key.
a great franchise. The funny thing is that the Angelos, Peter, at one point I thought was a good owner. And the funny thing is that he made his money fighting for the little guy.
Yeah.
He did. He made his money as a labor lawyer. Made his money fighting for the little guy. And then just became a bad owner. And it's really more of his sons became a bad owner. But I will root for the Orioles all season long. Yeah. I would love to see them have a good year. Orioles, and they should have a good year. They have a great team. Corbin Barnes, Burns, their starter, their ace will go today. Orioles, Angels, and Twins, Royals at 4:00. This is my parlay.
Oh,
today.
yeah.
Yeah, I have Orioles minus a 1.5, and the Royals outright winner over the Twins.
Oh, okay.
That's my two-team parlay. Yankees play in Houston.
Yes.
Later on.
No Cole.
Also 4:00. Yeah. Well, we knew he was going to be out, but now he's on the 60-day DL. So, and then we got North Carolina tonight, late night, against Alabama tonight. Mm-hmm. I like the Tar Heels to win. Kind of comfortably. And Clemson, that would be great if Clemson beat Arizona. That would be awesome to watch. Hope that happens. Although, I'm kind of here for the theater with Caleb Love going against UNC.
That would be fun.
If we got to Arizona, North Carolina. So we've got Carolina.
Yes.
Hurricanes tonight against the Red Wings. A win of any kind clinches a playoff spot.
Please and thank you.
I don't know that we're going to have champagne popping. I don't think they do that. But any win guarantees a playoff spot, so all of the Hurricanes fans can change their Twitter handles to X- whatever it is.
Yes.
And I'm here for it. I am not
Same.
criticizing it. I am here for it. I don't know how to change my Twitter profile. So we got that tonight, and then tomorrow we've got both Duke and State on the floor, and the State women and Duke women are both in action. As just crazy. We have too much stuff going on, although Duke doesn't play until Saturday. I guess State doesn't play. No, State plays tomorrow. Oh, gosh, just too much. There you go. Terry Cashman. All right, we got to go. Victoria, thank you. See everybody tomorrow.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Oh, this is the time of the year to be active, to enjoy life, to get out, move around. But what if you hurt? What if you wake up every day in pain? Your knees hurt, your shoulders, your back, your hips. You've got joint pain. How to get rid of it? Steroids, yeah, that makes you feel better, but it's destroying your body from the inside, and we don't want to have surgery. Enter my friends at QC Kinetics. Long way to get there, but QC Kinetics can give you your life back, and they can do it naturally. Natural biologics, the body heals itself just like the body was designed to work. It's supposed to heal itself. Regenerative therapies at QC Kinetics are the way to go. Without pain meds, without steroids, without surgery, you just feel great. QC Kinetics, find out all about it. 919-400-5473. The consultation is free. 919-400-5473. In Cary, in Clayton, in Raleigh, in Wake Forest, QC Kinetics.
Planning for spring at Lowe's means big savings on outdoor power equipment, and Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Buy one select Ego string trimmer, leaf blower, or mower kit. Get one select 15